Chapter 94. Chased by Evil Spirits. Why? David and Board both looked at Sienna. Because it's the third night, Sienna said. What third night? Every spiritualist will fall unconscious when going through the life trial. If they're attacked on the first night, then they are one of the chosen. If it's the second night, then they are the extraordinary. The third night, they are of the Holy Spirit. Of course, each day that passes means that the trial will be more difficult. Miss Sienna, what night were you attacked? The first night. Most spiritualists are like this. I was saved by an old gypsy who became my teacher. So if Aisha survives tonight, she'll have superpowers. Board was afraid but also a bit excited. No. What do you mean by saying she's of the Holy Spirit? Like Jesus. You're saying my daughter is Jesus. Of course not, but it's the same principle. But Jesus is a dude, David said doubtfully. He's different. How? How do I know? Sienna rolled her eyes. Board couldn't decide, making Sienna lose her patience. You better decide soon. It'll be 10 o'clock in a few minutes. By then it'll actually be dangerous. But you want to take my daughter out of the hospital. But where are you taking her? The church. No. No. Board immediately yelled. Definitely not. Why? Don't you know what my daughter and wife experienced before? Do you know? They were raped. And that damn monster stuffed them into a box and buried them under the oak tree by the church. Now you want to take my daughter to a church? Don't even think about it. We don't have to go to that church. Just leave the city to somewhere with less people. And why? David asked, confused. If there's fewer people, then there are fewer dead people. There's a lower possibility of evil spirits too. That woman may attract evil spirits from a larger region, but even if they can sense her, it'll still take time to catch up to her. So this is safe. No. Sienna shook her head. It's just relatively safer. This way we can avoid most evil spirits. What about the rest? David asked, gulping. Suddenly, the light in the hospital's hallway dimmed. She's here. Sienna's expression changed. She suddenly took a sharp awl out of her pocket and slammed it into the wall. A distorted face appeared on the wall. It seemed to be wailing, but there was no sound. David and Board went pale with terror, but Sienna acted like she did something casual. Do you see this? It's just a minor character. There'll be more of these things attacking my daughter. Yes, more terrifying ones. Hurry and take my daughter away. Board wouldn't give in until the last moment. He'd been hesitant earlier, but now he agreed wholeheartedly. Wait, what about my wife? She was kidnapped with Aisha and they went through the same things. Will she also? No, your wife won't, Sienna said. Don't get unrelated people involved. Your wife shouldn't come. You shouldn't come either. Your daughter and I are enough. No way, Board said determinedly. Even if I believe you, I won't let you take my daughter away. That's impossible. I'm a police officer. Protecting citizens is my duty, David also said when Sienna made him leave. Sienna knew what David was thinking right now. This was something from dreams. He was inside a supernatural event now. How could he give it up? Is there something like holy water? Or garlic? David asked with enthusiasm. He didn't feel any danger at all. He was just excited from being in something like an intense game. Please, officer. It's about my daughter's life right now. Maybe we need a cross? Board added. Enough. I'm a witch, not a religious priest. If you think that's more useful, you can go find a priest to drive out the demon. Okay. We'll listen to you, but you can't kick us out. Take the girl out of the hospital. The three moved quickly. Board placed his daughter on a wheelchair. He was going to pack up her clothes, but Sienna stopped her. It wasn't necessary. If Aisha could survive these 3 hours, she would be safe. Board did the discharge paperwork without telling his wife. Get in my car, David said while tossing his keys to Sienna. We won't be bothered even if we speed. Why are you giving me the keys? I can't drive. Board and David were both shocked. How could someone in this world not know how to drive? It was as shocking as finding an illiterate person in China. In China, some of the older generation might not be able to read, but there were practically no illiterates in the younger generation. America was a country where the driver's license could be used as an ID card. One could imagine how common driving was here. In the end, David sat in the driver's seat and shot out of the hospital in the police car. Clunk. Slow down. You want us to crash? Why is the car shaking so hard? Is there an evil spirit? Motherfucker, you didn't slow down on the speed bump. Board roared. If you can't drive, let me do it. I don't want my daughter to die in a tragic car crash before the evil spirit gets to her. Miss Sienna told me to drive faster. But you can't. I don't think it's fast enough. Sienna looked in the back. Something's chasing behind us. Behind us? There's nothing there. Don't you see the car with red headlights? Damn it, they changed the headlights red? I should give him a ticket. Plus, his exhaust is obviously excessive. Look at that black smoke. David's professionalism was acting up. It's not a modification. It's an evil spirit. Can't you see that there's no driver? David and Board finally realized that something was wrong with that car. Chapter 95. Mr. Board's mouth is cursed. Moreover, the black smoke was coming out from the windows, not the exhaust pipes. The vehicle behind us is filled with evil spirits. We better lose them. Why did they attach themselves to the vehicle instead of fly towards us? Because they're not fast enough. How fast do you think they are? Most of them are only slightly faster than humans. So if they don't have a car, they can never reach us. I said most. A minority of them are actually the most dangerous ones. What will they do? I think it's better for you not to know it, or you'll have nightmares. Bang! The car was bumped by the vehicle from the back. Both David and Board were horrified. David tried his best to maintain the stability of the car. Sienna, think of something. Exorcise the spirits from that car. I can't unless you can make it stop. Otherwise, I'll be run over after I alight. You're a witch. How can you die from a car accident? I'm not Superwoman, you fool. Stop saying these kinds of stupid things. So we can't do anything now. Lose the car. Here goes nothing. David stomped on the accelerator and the car shot forward. Board and Sienna were both flung to the back of their seats. The acceleration was too sudden, and they were not ready for it yet. There were not many cars on the road at the moment, but racing through the city at such a high speed still greatly frightened Board and Sienna. Slower. Slower. See? We've lost them. David hit the horn in complacence. From the rear mirror, he could no longer see the spirit-occupied car. Lucky for us. If those evil spirits had a truck instead of a small car, the collision just now would have turned us over, Board said, patting his own chest. Beep! An ear-piercing beep exploded on the night roads. The faces of all the three paled at once. They saw a vehicle with a strange red light appear behind them. Those who have watched Transformers should all know how Optimus Prime looks like in his vehicle state. A similar truck was chasing the three at the moment. Faster! Faster! Go! Accelerate! Board and Sienna both screamed in horror. It was indeed terrifying to be chased by such a giant. A gentle kiss from the truck would absolutely turn the police car into a piece of junk. David stepped on the accelerator again. Slash! The police car bolted forward, losing the truck behind it gradually. Lucky for us. As long as this car works fine, the truck can't reach us, Board remarked, looking at the truck behind. Just then the car slowed down. Why were we slowing down? It's out of petrol. Why? The car stopped. David shouted, run! The truck was already right behind them. Board carried Aisha and charged out of the car. In the next instant, the truck collided with the car, which flew for at least 10 meters. 1 second slower and they would all be crushed into nothingness. The truck stopped somewhere not far from them. Because the road was too narrow, it could not turn around. Suddenly, Sienna dashed towards the truck while muttering something in her mouth. Then, she waved her hand and sprinkled a handful of fluorescent powder. Alarming howls were released from the black smoke. It looked as if something was about to break out of the smoke and leap towards Sienna. However, when it touched the fluorescent powder floating in the air, it immediately retreated. God of Zuma, listen to my call. May your power fall and burn the evil before us. Right away, the fluorescent powder ignited in midair, blasting the smoke away. Done. The evil spirits here are gone. It's over. Bored and David asked, confused. These are only the pawns. The real danger has yet to come. What do we do now? Onto this truck. The seats in the truck were broader and more comfortable than those in the police car. David continued to be the driver, but there was clearly more excitement than horror on his face. I hope that this truck isn't going to run out of petrol. Before long, the truck slowly stopped. David and Sienna stared at Bored, who was petrified. Really? Mr. Bored, has your mouth been cursed? Sienna also tapped her own forehead. She had never been this unlucky. What do we do now? What else? Find another car, Sienna said, looking painful. How? Sienna scanned around her and took out a stacking doll from her pocket. Opening the head of the doll, a wave of black smoke flew out. David and Bored subconsciously stepped back as the smoke looked familiar. It looked like the evil spirits they had just encountered. The black smoke converged into a ferocious and frightening ghost face. Haha. Two delicious souls. Slap. Stop scaring them. Sienna slapped onto the ghost's face. Let me introduce him to you. My father, Yiberg. He. Evil spirit. But now he's my evil spirit servant. He's not going to devour our souls, is he? Nope. Dad, go and get control of a car. We're escaping from danger now. Yiberg unhappily floated to a car by the roadside. Soon, the headlights of the car were lit with red light. Please don't pick a car without petrol. Huh, this car's out of petrol. Let's choose another one. Yiberg floated out again. Mr. Bored, please don't speak for the rest of our journey. I can confirm that your mouth is cursed. Finally, Yiberg found them an SUV. The group boarded the car again. David was about to sit onto the driver's seat when Yiberg's ghost face roared fiercely, Scram! I haven't driven for 10 years already. David looked at Sienna in fright. Sienna only shrugged her shoulders. Let him drive. If I summon him out and do not fulfill his wishes at all, he'll be mad. Yiberg drove the car in much excitement and Sienna did not seem to be bothered. However, David and Bored could not remain calm. Nobody could remain calm after knowing that an evil spirit was driving the car they were on. More importantly, the ordinary SUV felt like an F1 vehicle in Yiberg's hands. Miss Sienna, can you please ask your father to drive more slowly? Do you know what his occupation was before his death? What? Racer. Bored asked, uncertain. Bingo. He was an Isle of Man TT racer. Luckily he's not an F1 racer, Bored said, patting his chest. He died on an F1 racing track. Chapter 96. Sienna's father is good at seeking trouble too. Mr. Bored, I think you should stop talking, David said, still frightened. He's crazy. He searched for death his entire life and finally succeeded. Low-altitude parachuting, mountain climbing without safety ropes, deep-sea scuba diving, downhill skiing, and even the Isle of Man TT, he tried it all. Formula 1 was his last challenge. The finish line was right before his eyes, but he didn't make it. His race car had a problem. It turned and fell apart while his skull crashed against the safety barrier. Sienna glanced at Yiberg. And after that, at least one driver would have an accident on that F1 track each race. The Lock's track of death? David asked, surprised. You know about it. I heard about it before. David swallowed heavily. The most dangerous racetrack in the world. The death rate is close to the Isle of Man TT. Before I found him, he'd already haunted that place for 6 years, killing 13 drivers. David and Bored both shuddered, staring at Yiberg in terror. Yiberg turned at the perfect timing and smiled. The menacing face was nothing but horrifying. Are you sure he won't eat our souls? Evil spirits can't eat a living soul directly. Good. But I can make the car drive down the cliff. Then I can eat your soul. I want to get out. All right. Yiberg, stop scaring them. Miss Sienna, are you sure your father won't drive the car down the cliff? Yes. He won't do it as long as I'm in the car. Why? He's my subordinate. David gathered his courage and reached over to touch Yberg's body. The car immediately started skidding. Sienna grabbed David. You wanna die? What? I can't touch him. Evil spirits don't have solid forms. If you touch him, his body will disintegrate. Just like what happened, the car will lose control before he can regroup. It seems like we've escaped from danger with Mr. Yberg driving board said. No, I can feel that danger is approaching, Yberg said. It's not just one. One of them might be even more evil than me. He suddenly grabbed the steering wheel. The car skidded but turned with an extreme angle. It was like a roller coaster for the three humans in the car. David was already screaming in fear. Yberg, is it? Just then the street lamps dimmed one by one. It was as if a shadow was catching up to them. Something's chasing us. Suddenly David felt like he couldn't breathe. A pair of hands were around his neck, pushing him into the seat. Save me. Sienna immediately took out her awl and stabbed into the seat cushion behind David. The cushion exploded and David escaped from the throttling. Miss Sienna, what is going on? An evil spirit got into the car. What? Didn't you say that evil spirits can't attack someone directly? It didn't attack you directly, Sienna said. You were choking yourself. What? I choked myself? David, you really were. I thought you were doing something. What's wrong with me? You were affected by that evil spirit, but I took care of it. They can control our minds. Not all of them, Sienna said. Every evil spirit is unique. What's your father's special ability? Driving, Sienna answered. That's a special ability? I was talking about those abilities like an X-Man. Driving like a crazy man, Sienna answered harshly. Isn't there a cooler ability? Scaring people. David was so done. Driving? Who couldn't drive? And scaring people? What the fuck? Isn't there a more useful ability? Hey, are you looking down on me? Yberg turned around again. This time he turned his neck at a 90-degree angle, making David's scalp go numb. Old man, can you not do this? I know you're scaring people, but it's actually super scary. Mr. Yberg, don't you need to keep your eyes on the road? No. I know where to drive to. Suddenly, the car shook and Sienna's expression changed again. Oh no. Another evil spirit got into the car. The car kept swaying unsteadily. Yberg controlled the steering wheel, using all his might to stable the car and keep it from turning over. If this continued, it was only a matter of time before a crash. Sienna, think of something. Yberg yelled. I'm losing control. Sienna looked at David. Did you bring a gun? Yes. Give it to me. Huh. As a cop, he instinctively wanted to refuse, but then he remembered that it was a special circumstance. Hesitating, he asked, what are you going to do? A gun can't hurt evil spirits, right? Ordinary bullets can't, Sienna said. She took out a small bag filled with shining powder. What's that? I saw you drive out evil spirits with that earlier. The main ingredient is phosphor. Phosphor? Oh my god, it'll explode when it touches the air. You want to kill us? Don't worry. I used a spell and it's magical phosphor now. Sienna grabbed David's gun and poured some of the phosphor into it. Then she closed her eyes. Holding the gun, she started moving slowly. David and Board both got into fetal positions out of fear. Boom boom. Sienna fired at the hood and back seat. Then she put the gun down. Killed another one. Miss Sienna, please don't close your eyes when you shoot, David yelled in fright. That's really dangerous. There's people here. Yeah, Board also yelled. Even if you don't hit anyone, if you hit a part of the car or the gas tank, MFF. David covered Board's mouth, but it was too late. Sienna, you really did hit the gas tank. The gas is draining. Out. Get out the car. Everyone hurried out of the car. David opened the wheelchair and Board placed Aisha in. What do we do now? Run. Run forward. Sienna was already running. Huh. Run with all your might. Don't look back. But David couldn't stop himself from looking back. He saw a huge black cloud of smoke covering the sky behind him. Yberg was beside him. Sienna, put me away. Hurry, put me away. I don't want to get mixed with those things. Chapter 97. Sienna's Family Reunion. Sienna took out the container from earlier and closed Yberg in it. Then she took out a different container and opened it. Another cloud of smoke was released. This time it was a female evil spirit. Her body was bloated and she was at least twice as big as Yberg. Maria, help us stop the evil spirits behind. Ah, you little bitch. Are you trying to kill me? I'm your mom after all. Do you think I can battle a mixture of so many evil spirits? Quickly put me back. I don't want to die again, or I'll really have nothing left. As they ran wildly, Bord and David both turned their heads and looked at Sienna, who was similarly charging forward. She's your mom. Yes. Also your evil spirit servant. Yes. So both your dad and mom are your evil spirit servants. Yes. You like to turn your family members' souls into evil spirit servants. I had no other choice, given that they had already turned into evil spirits. It's either this or destroy them. Just then an evil spirit pounced towards the group. Although Maria was bloated, she was exceptionally agile. She opened her mouth wide and took in a deep breath, sucking the evil spirit in. As David and Bord pushed the wheelchair, panting, they also looked curiously at Maria. They realized that Maria's body seemed to have become slightly bigger. David asked curiously, "Is this your mom's ability?" Maria opened her mouth, showing all her yellow and black teeth. She's the most fierce type of evil spirit, and also my trump card, Sienna explained. How did she die? She offended a gang and was forced to eat 40 kilograms of food. Stuffed to death, Sienna replied. After she died, she gnawed all the people involved until their bodies were bloody and mutilated. Didn't you say that evil spirits can't harm people directly? That's why she's the most fierce type. Sienna glanced at Maria. Maria, you don't have to defeat that evil spirit mixture. Just stop them for 30 minutes. 30 minutes? I can't even do 1 minute. How many evil spirits are there? Perhaps everything in this city. There's an evil spirit inside which is as fierce as me. Just then, an enormous evil spirit charged out from the mixture. Maria was already quite large, about twice the size of a normal adult, but she only looked like a kid before this evil spirit. 5 meters tall, the evil spirit roared wildly. The giant evil spirit raised its hand and pressed Maria onto the ground. Miss Sienna, aren't you going to help your mom? Don't mind her. I only want her to make some time for us. But her situation doesn't look good. She's the most fierce type of evil spirit. Wouldn't be defeated so easily. Sienna was totally confident in Maria, and no worry could be heard in her tone. Is the relationship between you and your mom very bad? Will you like a woman who sold her 9-year-old daughter to a gang? Is that giant evil spirit also a human before? Bord clearly did not want to continue on this topic. Despite its appearance, it's only slightly stronger than ordinary evil spirits. Maria is just pretending. She's always like this, despicable and shameless, but just when you think you can ignore her, she'll charge up and bite you without hesitation. Just then Maria caught up with the group again. Little bitch, how dare you speak of me behind my back? One day, I'll break free from your binding and then. Before that, you better be obedient. I've already eaten 2 evil spirits. I can't eat anymore. Exercise a bit first and eat later. Don't you always want to break free of my binding? This is your chance. The more you eat, the earlier you can get rid of me. They seemed to be as incompatible as fire and water. David and Bord ran as fast as they could, but they were already very tired, both physically and mentally. Another evil spirit leaped towards them. Maria, who had just claimed to be too full, grabbed the spirit with her fat hand and stuffed it into her mouth. I'm so full. Maria's body became bigger again. Will Miss Maria eat enough evil spirits break free from your control and then eat all of us? Bord asked in horror. David stared at Bord in anger. Nobody will think you're mute if you don't speak. As Sienna ran, she took out Maria's stacking doll. She realized that the stacking doll had some cracks on it. Turning her head, Sienna saw Maria grab 2 more evil spirits and stuff them into her mouth. Why do I feel that she'll be our biggest trouble? Bord also turned his head around. Crack! The stacking doll in Sienna's hand shattered completely. Sienna opened her mouth. Your mouth is way too toxic. Little bitch. Stand still. I'm going to eat you alive. Maria also felt it when the stacking doll was shattered. Her binding was broken completely. Now she was free. Sienna took out another stacking doll and released an evil spirit. It was a white-haired old man. Let me guess. Your grandfather. Oh. Sienna said to the old man, Stop, Maria. Cough. Maria, the old man said. Maria bumped into the old man, who disappeared straight away. However, shortly afterwards, the old man appeared before her again. Maria, listen to me. Scram, you two old codgers. Maria slapped her hand forward and the old man disappeared again. Give me 10 minutes, no, just 1 minute. Listen. Scram. Maria did not give any face to the old man at all. She exhaled and blew the old man away once again. Panting, David asked, He's talking spirit. What's that? Talcoholic. Do you have a more normal evil spirit servant? I haven't summoned my grandmother. Do you want to see her? Forget it. Subconsciously, Board and David felt that Sienna's grandmother was no normal evil spirit too. Nonetheless, they had to admit that the talcoholic old man indeed managed to slow Maria down. Can he never be killed? Board asked. Suddenly, the old man appeared beside the three. Gasping for air, he said, No, I can't take it any longer. I'm going back. You're all going to die. At the moment, Maria looked just like a mountain made up of flesh. She charged wildly towards the group. Sienna threw her ritual implement all towards Maria. The ritual implement flew into the air. Suddenly, it turned into a python and coiled around Maria. Wow. David and Board stopped and looked at Maria and the huge snake in surprise. Don't stop. Keep running, Sienna shouted. Chapter 98. Crazy Maria. Board and David finally remembered that they were running for their lives. What's that? A magic spell? That's the illusion of the snake of desire. But it can only delay Maria for a moment. The mixed evil spirits behind is the most terrifying. Do you have another trump card? Like your grandma? No. I only have 3 evil spirit servants. I thought you'd have your entire family. My grandma is a witch too. If she becomes an evil spirit, that'll be scary. I'm not powerful enough to make her submit to me. Where are we now? Board asked. It looks like the entrance to a small town, Sienna said. We can't go in. It seems to be Mountain Town. Chen lives here. That doesn't matter, Sienna said. That man can't help us. He's just deadweight too. But can we even turn back? David pointed to the mixed evil spirits hurrying over a few hundred feet away. They seem slower now, but why do I feel like they're even scarier now? This is their celebration, Sienna answered. They're eating each other. This isn't a good sign. David suddenly took out a key. When Chun left that day, he gave me this key. He said that if we're in danger and can't contact him, we can hide in his basement. You believe him? I believe Chun, David said firmly. You must know if we really hide into that basement, we won't have any way to turn back. We don't have a way to turn back now. We can't go far on foot. Plus, we don't have any more strength. Take us to that Asian's house, Sienna finally decided. Oh, knock knock knock. Hearing the knocks, Feilai rose up from the sofa. Is that asshole back? She muttered to herself, upset. He didn't bring his key. When she opened the door, she saw strangers instead. 2 men and a woman. They seemed to be running for their lives. There was an unconscious girl in a wheelchair too. You are you Chin's girlfriend? No, I'm his roommate. Are you his friends? Yes, please take us to the basement, David said anxiously. Chun doesn't let me into the basement. We agreed to it. We have his permission, David said. I have the key. I don't think there's a lock to the basement. Why would you need a key? Let's not talk now. Time is short. Take us to the basement. Wait. You're really Chen's friends? Yes. Is he not home? He's not, so I can't let you in. Feilai was still guarded against these people. Fuck, the call won't go through. David yelled in panic. You can't run. Offer your souls. Maria had already reached the door. She held the magical all that Sienna had used. Who's this girl? Is she your friend too? She's huge. Feilai looked at Maria behind everyone with a doubtful expression. Sienna smacked Maria's face with the bag of magical phosphor. When the phosphor touched Maria, it exploded immediately. I'm going to kill you all. Colorful flames flared up on Maria's body. It was a terrifying sight. Feilai was dumb with shock. Were these people criminals? The next moment Maria stood up again. The flames were still burning. Her menacing and twisted face and huge physique made her look even more frightening. Sienna pushed Feilai aside. The basement. What is that? What is that? An evil spirit. Where's the basement? Under the stairs. Feilai followed the group. They reached the basement and pulled the door. No lock. Go in, Sienna urged. They reached the basement and turned on the light. There were some medical tools and books. This can't stop Maria at all, let alone the mixed evil spirits, Sienna said. We were tricked. That Asian wants to trick us. Hey, there's another door here. David saw another door in the wall. Board went up to look. There's a keyhole here. David reached over and pulled it. The door opened, but there was a wall behind it. Nothing else. Just then a bunch of noises came from outside the basement. Everyone grew more nervous. Maria, or those even scarier things, had already entered the house. Sienna looked at the door and the keyhole on it. No, this is a concealed magic door. What? Everyone looked at her in confusion. Close the door and put the key in. David moved and twisted the key. Crack. A damp feeling seeped out of the door, making everyone shudder. This? Is there something hidden behind it? Board asked in fear. Scratch. Just then, everyone heard something like scratches behind the door. David looked at Board and then Sienna. Do I open it? If Board hadn't spoken, Sienna wouldn't have hesitated, but now. Huff, huff. They all heard heaving breathing behind the door. It definitely wasn't a human's breaths. It was more like some huge creature breathing. But while they were still hesitating, Maria's head already poked into the basement. The menacing and scarred face appeared before them all. I found you all, Wait, why can't I come in? Maria was too big, so she couldn't squeeze inside the door. Can't evil spirits go through walls? David whispered. It might have something to do with this door. We opened it and changed the environment. Thank God she can't change like clay, Board said, patting his chest. Maria forced her way in and her body was indeed like clay. Everyone stared at Board. Rather than the terrifying Maria, they hated Board more. Okay. I know. I'll shut up. You can't escape anymore? My dear Sienna, don't worry. I'll leave you to the last. I'll protect you carefully, just like when you were little. Sienna, do you have any other spells? Use them now. Chapter 99. The Amateur Spiritualist is Back. Sienna smiled bitterly. If I have any other trump card, I wouldn't have kept it till now. So, do we open this door? Are you sure the monster behind the door wouldn't eat us? Maybe it's with us? Maria had almost managed to stuff her body into the basement. Suddenly, however, her movement stopped. Maria tried to turn her head around, but her body blocked the entire door. What's that? You bastard, stop touching me. Clearly enraged, Maria attempted to kick away the thing that was touching her. However, the next moment, a painful look appeared on her face. Everyone discovered Maria's unusual behavior. Her expression changed from agony to horror as she held on to the basement door with all her might. Anna, save me. Save me, Maria was totally terrified. Save me. Just then, Maria was pulled out of the basement by some kind of force, along with the basement door. She had used more than 10 minutes to stuff half her body into the basement, but she was dragged out in less than a second. Then, everyone heard Maria's extremely tragic screams from above. The entire process was unbelievably quick. In just a few seconds, Maria's screaming disappeared. The whole place fell into a deafening silence. What was that? Must be the mixture of evil spirits. Sienna was unsure as well. Clack, clack. Footsteps were heard from outside the basement. Then, an amiable figure appeared at the basement entrance. Hi everyone. Looks like I'm a bit late. With their eyes widened in surprise, everyone stared at Chun Zhao who had just appeared. Fortunately, you haven't opened this door. Chun Zhao walked into the basement and pulled out the key on the magic door. Eastern you. Chun, it's great to see you. David hugged Chun Zhao in excitement. Where's Maria? And the group of evil spirits? Sienna looked at Chun Zhao in disbelief. Worry no more. They're not there anymore, Chun Zhao answered with a light tone. What do you mean by not there? Have you already exorcised them? That's not possible. There were hundreds of evil spirits, many of which were powerfully inauspicious. Compared to being saved suddenly, Sienna was more unwilling to accept the guess that Chun Zhao had actually eliminated all the evil spirits. Huh! Suddenly, Aisha, who was lying on the wheelchair, gave out a soft sound. Aisha! Aisha! You're awake? Board shouted in pure delight. Dad, where are we? Sienna frowned and looked at the time. It's not 1 in the morning yet. Is it over already? Let's go out. Are you planning to stay in the basement for the entire night? When Fei Lai walked out of the basement, she saw a mess in the living room. Chun, I want you to explain what's happening. And who are they? Chun Zhao sat on a sofa. It was the only sofa that was intact in the living room. Didn't you see it for yourself? What do you want me to explain? How did you eliminate Maria? How did you dispel those evil spirits? You can't have possibly done it. Fine, fine. I didn't do it. Happy. Can you leave my house now? Chun, can I stay here tonight? David was clearly too scared to walk outside in the dark again. Mr. Chun, you're not going to let me carry Aisha back at this late hour, are you? Board's reason was very convincing as well. How about you, miss? Sienna was somewhat hesitant. I'm staying too. I have many questions to ask you. Sorry, but I'm not obliged to answer your questions. Mr. Board, you can sleep in the guest room with your daughter and also use my towel. There's some disposable toiletries in the restroom, but no clothes. Thank you. You've saved my daughter twice. Thank you. It's fine. I didn't do much anyway. Dad, what's happening? Are we not going home? Cuddled in Board's arms, Aisha looked very clear-headed, as if she had already totally recovered. Chun, where do I sleep? David asked, moving towards Chun Zhao. If you don't have enough rooms, I don't mind sharing one with another person. As he spoke, he turned his head and looked at Sienna. Here. Chun Zhao pointed at the floor. Living room. You must be kidding, right? I'm tired. Good night. Chun Zhao turned around and walked away. Wait, Fei Lai pulled Chun Zhao. You can't leave before explaining everything to me. You've already seen both what you should have and what you shouldn't have. What else do you want to know? What's hidden in the basement? I mean behind that door. I think I've told you that this house is haunted, right? Are there really ghosts here? As long as you don't open that door for no reason, the thing inside wouldn't come out. At least don't open it in my absence. Everyone swallowed their saliva as they unleashed their imagination to the fullest. After Board brought his daughter to the room, everyone started taking turns to wash themselves. Then, either casually wearing pajamas or half-naked, they sat in the living room and started chatting. Soon, Board, who had put his daughter to sleep, also came out. He seemed to be much more relaxed. The group formed a circle, drinking beers and eating snacks. Chun, I really have to thank you this time. Of course, thanks to Miss Sienna too for your hard work. I don't want to speak about this again. I'm a doctor. Being a spiritualist is only my part-time job. Even if you are considered an amateur, then what am I as a professional witch? Are you a witch? Fei Lai looked at Sienna, her eyes glowing. Yes, here's my name card. If you need things like eliminating spirits or summoning your ancestors, you can call me. Oh, I also sell magic potions. Sienna immediately gave Fei Lai a name card. Or even divination. I can contact a diviner for you. Do you teach magic? I want to learn magic too. I can't, you don't have the talents. Chun, can you do a checkup for my daughter? I'm worried that she would have a sequela. I can do that, but I wouldn't be able to help with any mental injuries. I'm not a psychologist. Also, there will be a charge. Here. How much will that be? I just lost my job recently. $100 for the checkup. Also, I only accept cash and there wouldn't be a receipt. I don't have a license. You're an illegal doctor? David asked in surprise. What, you want to arrest me? Please, why would I arrest you? You're not in my charge anyway. David rolled his eyes. $100 for a checkup? Why is it so expensive? You don't even have 100. Chapter 100 Lab Rat. I don't have much saving. Americans didn't have the habit of saving money. They encouraged spending first and then using their salary to pay off their credit cards. All right, I'll do it for free this time. Chun Zhao pursed his lips. He would just be a good man to the end. Oh, what did you used to do? I'm a personal trainer, but I didn't go to work for many days because my wife and daughter were kidnapped. I got fired. What do you teach? Fitness and safety. I have a certificate. Great. I have a client who's a track runner. He doesn't have a club though. Can you train him? Of course. Of course I can. Great. I'll give you his card. When you contact him, tell him I introduced you. He won't be able to give much money now because he was just hurt. Board wouldn't complain. He needed a boss now. It didn't matter if the salary wasn't that high. Okay. You all should go to sleep, Chun Zhao said, standing up. David, you can sleep in my room. What about you? Instead of replying, Chun Zhao went straight to the basement and locked the door. Everyone fell silent before going to their rooms to sleep. Chun Zhao and Rutherford had made an agreement. He would sponsor Rutherford, so in addition to fixing his leg, Chun Zhao would also try and improve his performance. Chun Zhao remembered that the Demon Medical Book had mentioned a medicine that could improve a person's physical fitness. The ingredients for the medicine didn't seem too complex either. More importantly, the main ingredient was the demonic crystal. This happened to be what Chun Zhao had more than enough of. However, he had to find some of the other items in hell. Of course, going back and forth between hell was too costly. He had to sacrifice 100 souls for Beelzebub's true form to summon Chun Zhao. It was more cost-efficient to buy from Raz. His prices were higher than the original price, but Chun Zhao had no choice but to buy from him. Qian, I just helped you kill 238 evil spirits. You owe me 283 years worth of demonic crystals. I'll pay you back when I can. Chun Zhao couldn't produce so many demonic crystals right now. To be honest, he felt like he had sustained great losses this time. He'd thought that there were only 10 or 20 evil spirits attacking the girl and he could totally take that. He didn't expect to pay so much at once. However, he still had a complete perfect crystal. He'd gotten it from saving people from the fire last time. He also had some miscellaneous demonic crystals that added up to 20 years. In addition, he had small amounts of perfect crystal powder. It was leftovers from polishing the first perfect crystal. Chun Zhao didn't summon Raz directly. Instead, he had Beelzebub act as the messenger and have Raz bring the things over. 20 vines of Immons, 1 year's worth of demonic crystals, 5 soul-eater eyeballs, 1 year's worth of demonic crystals. Chun Zhao bought a lot of each ingredient and used demonic crystals to pay for them all. Raz loved doing business with Chun Zhao. After all, none of his customers before would pay with demonic crystals. They mostly bartered. Only this living being paid him with demonic crystals. The things he sold weren't unique to him either. Chun Zhao could get it from many other demons. Thus, he never acted sloppily when he did business with Chun Zhao. He would give extra too. Most respected living lord, here is everything you need. Please check. No need. I trust you. Of course, this was just polite talk. Chun Zhao would still count everything after Raz left. He wished Raz would miss something so he could have an advantage next time. After Raz left, Chun Zhao entered the lab and tried making the medicine. Extract the liquid from the vines of Immons and pour it onto the petal of the rootless flower. Grind the rootless flower and pour in water from the river of death. After working the entire night, Chun Zhao created the medicine, a bottle of purple liquid. It was obviously not normal medicine. It looked like it was boiling, but it was actually room temperature. Chan Zhao dipped a finger in and tasted it. It didn't have any taste. He wondered how effective it was. He had to find a human or animal to experiment on before Rutherford's leg was healed. Beelzebub and the others wouldn't work, since this medicine was only effective on living beings. Chan Zhao suddenly thought of David. He ran out of the basement and pushed open his bedroom door. It was 6 a.m., and Chan Zhao lifted the sleeping David. "David, get up." "Chan, what time is it?" David rubbed his eyes and looked at the clock hanging on the wall. "Oh my God, it's only 6. Let me sleep." "Drink this." "Breakfast?" "Thanks." David tossed the medicine into his mouth without even looking and then went back to sleep. However, he soon felt pain in his arm. He opened his eyes again and saw Chan Zhao taking his blood with a syringe. "Chun, what are you doing?" "Nothing, just a checkup. Go back to sleep." "Wait. Are you experimenting on me?" He was suddenly awake. "I remember you gave me something to drink. I don't think it was breakfast." "It's something I just invented," Chan Zhao said. "It can improve your physical fitness." "Improve my fitness?" "Yes." "Can it turn me into Superman?" "No." "Then what will it do?" "I don't know. I need to test your blood." "Okay, you can sleep without worry now." "Wait, how can I sleep without worry? Does your medicine have any side effects?" "Definitely no. Don't worry." Chan Zhao's meaningful smile made David unable to calm down. "Really? Really? I'm still not assured." "Then get up and test the effect." "To be honest, it's my first time making the medicine." "First time giving it to a human? You didn't do any clinical tests?" "I did. You're my clinical patient." "Can I cuss?" Chapter 101: David's Changes. "Do you feel anything now? The point of injection still hurts. Anything else?" "No. Is your potion ineffective? Or do I have to wait?" "I'm not sure either." "Oh." David still went to the police station looking troubled, while Chan Zhao also started another day of work. Everyone in the house had left. Chan Zhao opened the metallic box. He realized that there were many white crystals in the box. Are these not demonic crystals? Taking out a white crystal, Chan Zhao began to inspect it. "What's this?" "Human. Where did you get that disgusting angelic crystal from? Take it away. Don't come near me." Beelzebub roared at once. "Angelic crystal? So it's called angelic crystal. What are its uses?" "Nothing, but its radiance will burn demons including me like fire." Since demonic crystals had special uses, so should angelic crystals. Chan Zhao believed that angelic crystals were certainly not useless. There were many pieces of angelic crystals in the metallic box. Some were huge while others were much smaller. Chan Zhao suspected that these angelic crystals were formed because he had helped to eliminate those evil spirits last night. He kept the angelic crystals, planning to further examine them later. "Wash your hands or don't touch me." Chan Zhao rolled his eyes at Beelzebub for his huge reaction. Then he called a house maintenance company requesting a repair. He paid another 2,000 for this. David was on his way to the station. He had no idea how his vice captain would scold him after knowing that he had lost his police car. Thinking of this, David could feel his head hurt. Of course, David had already thought of an excuse. He would say that last night, he discovered his police car had been stolen, after which he spent the whole night looking for it. Just then, a loud car collision was heard before him. Lifting his head, David saw 2 cars which just had a head-on collision. Moreover, it seemed that both their speeds had been very fast, especially the Honda. Its front had completely retracted and even its body was deformed. The other car, a Mercedes, was in a slightly better condition. The driver walked out of the car with his head covered in blood. David charged forward immediately. He discovered that the Honda driver was trapped in his seat. He quickly attempted to open the door, which was stuck. Then David forcefully pulled the door, tearing it away from the car. "Sir, are you all right?" "My leg's stuck," the Honda driver said in pain. "Do you have a jack on your car?" "No." The Honda driver was still very conscious. David looked at the situation and suddenly had an idea. Perhaps he could physically move the seat away so that the driver could come out. David entered the front passenger seat. "Sir, I'll try to push the seat backwards. See if you can move." The Honda driver nodded with difficulty. David raised his legs and placed his feet on the steering wheel, after which he started to kick forward. Clack, clack. The sound of metal stretching was heard. The Honda driver suddenly realized that he could move. His injury was not severe and he was just stuck. Therefore, after more space was created, he immediately escaped from the car. Soon, an ambulance arrived at the site. David knew the paramedic for. "Miss Four, we meet again." "Indeed." For glanced at David. "Can you explain to me the situation?" David explained to her what had just happened. For nodded, "By the way, yesterday you and that girl's father brought the girl out. Today her father brought her back again. She's already awake. You've brought her to Chen's place, right?" I'm gonna be late. Bye." David turned around, ready to leave. "Do you still want my number?" "Yes, we went to Chen's place." "Thanks. What's your number? Should we meet again, I'll give it to you." "Liar. You liar." David cursed immediately. David stared in indignation as Four left. However, he soon came to his senses. Just now in the Honda, he had managed to separate the seat from the front of the car without much effort. Of course, he was also unsure if it was due to his strength or the poor quality of the car. Perhaps it's Chen's potion. It was still a few kilometers away from the police station. David started running and his speed became faster and faster, but he did not feel tired at all. He charged all the way to the station, where he started panting heavily. It was still tiring. However, he did not feel totally exhausted, as if he could still run. His body really did seem to be different. Instead of heading to his office, David went to the gym directly. It was 9 a.m. at the moment. The gym was already filled with many strong policemen. David walked in front of a barbell that weighed 50 kilograms. He reached out and lifted the barbell. It felt extremely light. David added 2 more 20 kilograms weights, which made the barbell 90 kilograms. He used a bit more strength and managed to lift it up. It still felt quite light. He had managed to lift it without difficulty. "David, why were you in the gym? You don't normally come here." A burly black man walked to David and saw him with the barbell. "Huh, you're quite strong. That's 90 kilograms. It still feels somewhat light. How about 2 more pieces?" "Sure." The black man added 2 more 10 kilograms weights onto the barbell. "Not enough. More." "Still not enough. Kid, I can't add any more. I'm afraid something will happen to you." The black man exercised frequently. Judging by his size and muscles, he definitely knew about the endurance of the human body better than David. "Fine." David shrugged his shoulders helplessly. He also did not want his performance to be too shocking. However, he could confirm that his fitness had indeed increased drastically. "Feels hungry." David rubbed his stomach. Very quickly, David realized that he was not just hungry, but rather starving. In the police station restaurant, David spent $40 on breakfast. He drank 1 gallon of milk and ate more than a dozen sandwiches and burgers. A gallon is about 3.7 liters and a normal packet of milk contains 200 milliliters. So David drank about 20 packets of milk. Many of his colleagues looked at him with their eyes widened. They had no idea that David had such a huge appetite. Moreover, David was only barely full. Satisfied, he returned to the office. "Looks like Chen's potion is really working. I'll ask him about it later." Chapter 102. Dell is looking for death again. Chun Zhao brought David's blood sample to the hospital. "Ms. Four." Chun Zhao found Four. Four was shocked. "Chun, you came voluntarily to find me?" "Yes. I need your help. Can you do it?" "What kind of help do you need? Don't tell me you need medicine." "I can't do it." Some illegal doctors would collude with hospital doctors to buy restricted medication. This was why Four's first thought was that this illegal doctor wanted her to steal some medication. "Of course not. I want to ask you to test a blood sample for me. I see. No problem for answered easily. But now you owe me, okay? I can take it as owing you if you don't make any difficult request. Great. Give me the blood sample. For took the sample. What kind of test? All around. The sample is an athlete's, so I need comprehensive data. Is it your client? Yes. For shook the blood sample in her hands. The hemoglobin is obviously lower than the average person. It makes sense that he's an athlete. A full analysis will take 3 hours. Can you wait? Yes. How about we eat lunch together? Sure. Are you treating? No, you are, for said with a smile. You know how much it costs for other people to do a full blood test. What do you want to eat? Order whatever you want. Oh. Chan Zhao looked at the bill, heart hurting, and sat beside For. I thought we would eat in the hospital. I don't like hospital food. Why not? It's too cheap, especially when someone else is paying. You'll get fat if you eat too much. You're so pretty. I wouldn't want your beauty to be taken away. Every man who says that to me actually just wants to fuck me. Do you want that too? Chun Zhao glanced at For. There are 2 types of people in this world. Those who ask the obvious and those who lie through their teeth. So do you want to or not? I don't. Lies. I was thinking that if you said yes, we would be able to satisfy our own needs. Can I change my answer now? For looked at him. Have you ever thought about getting a license? And becoming a legit doctor? Do legit doctors make as much as I do? How much do you make now? I made at least 100,000 each month in the past 2 months. Oh, For was shocked. Did illegal doctors really make that much? Then why should I become a legit doctor? At least you won't have to worry about getting sued for treating people illegally. Wrong. Legal doctors can also get sued by their patients. On the other hand, my patients definitely won't. They don't even dare to talk about it. So you're fearless now. Firstly, I have my own moral bottom line. Secondly, I'm worth every dollar they give me. I help relieve their pain and keep their secret. I don't think I did anything wrong, so neither of us is better than the other. Fine. I don't have a reason to convince you. Let's stop talking about this. How about we go back to the last topic? Do you have a boyfriend? No. When was your last boyfriend? I'm talking about a serious relationship. 2 years ago. It's been that long and you haven't considered another steady relationship. No time. How do you fulfill your desires then? With your hand? Or someone from the bar? If you know how busy I am every day, you will know that not everyone has the time and energy to care about that. What, you want a steady relationship with me? If it's you, I can consider it. Nah, I'm not planning on it, but if you have needs, I'm at your beck and call. I always thought that Asians would be shy and conservative. We have a saying, there are all types of birds in a forest big enough. You should understand that, right? Ha, I can guess what it means. Smiling, For asked, when was your last relationship? About half a year ago. Chan Zhao and For's conversation had no taboo topics. They could talk about anything. For also revealed her love history. Her reason for breaking up with her ex was quite cliché. Basically, she caught him cheating red-handed. Let's go. The test results should be out soon. In the hour that they sat in the restaurant, For had been eating non-stop most of the time. When they reached the lab, For went in and took the results out for Chan Zhao. Oh. As expected of an athlete, his numbers are 2 times higher than a regular person. It's really active too. Is this the data of a top athlete? Did you test for steroids? Yes, at the bottom of the paper. No steroids were found in the blood sample. Chun Zhao looked at each page. Confirming that there were no problems, he put the papers away. Thank you For. I should leave now. You're leaving just like this. Is there anything else? Or you want a kiss goodbye? Stop dreaming. You owe me, so leave your number. I'll call you when I need you to repay me. Fine. Oh. Chun Zhao walked out of the hospital with the test results and got Ethan's call. Chun, your old client is looking for you. Dell $3,000. You know his address, right? Yes. When Chun Zhao reached Dell's home, Sura let him straight in. Chen Zhao went to Dell's bedroom and saw him lying on a recliner with a blanket over him. He seemed to be asleep. What's wrong with him? Sura took a deep breath. She walked over and pulled off the blanket on Dell. Chen Zhao had been here 3 times before. Each time it was because of Dell's dick. Chen Zhao had treated countless patients in his career, but he'd never had a patient who could cause so much trouble on his dick without any regard to his safety like Dell. He was always the champion in seeking death, and each time was new and improved. His methods were never repeated. Chen Zhao massaged his temples. Dell's dick was now abnormally congested with small bumps under the skin. However, it hung down, seemingly having lost all energy. Can you tell me what exactly happened? Chapter 103, State of Seeking Death. He had a minor operation which implanted some metal granules beneath his skin. He said that it can bring greater satisfaction to both parties on bed, Sura said. Chen Zhao walked up and held Dell's penis. Did he have sleeping pills? Yes. We were about to have sex when he suddenly said it was very painful, so painful that he could not take it. How long has it been since the surgery? About 3 days. He started playing so soon? After this kind of operations, his body needs at least 20 days to heal and adapt. Moreover, the granules under his skin are metallic. It's very harmful to his muscles and erectile tissues. Are you sure he did the operation in a proper hospital? He felt not bad the past 2 days, so he planned to try it today. Chen Zhao was already completely speechless. He had never seen anyone who would seek trouble for themselves as much as Dell. This kind of operation was already weird enough, although Chen Zhao had seen it before. Some people did such operations to increase their pleasure. However, even if the metal granules implanted were round and smooth, they would still cause severe damage to muscles and erectile tissues after insertion under the skin. The patient might even suffer metal poisoning. Should the metal granules rust, Dell's penis might be disabled straight away. Most people would implant at most man-made fiber or silicone granules. I recommend that he remove all the metal granules before treatment. What do you think? Here, wake him up. You should ask him. I can't decide for him, Sura said. Chen Zhao patted Dell's face. Dell, wake up. Chen, why are you here? Dell woke up still looking dazed. Sura called me here. Really? I thought, Sura, and you were sneaking it out while I was asleep? Actually, I don't mind watching the 2 of you have sex before me. Do you enjoy such an exciting scene? Chen Zhao looked at Sura, who had her arms crossed before her chest. He had to admit that Sura's body was hot enough to allure anyone. Sura also looked at Chen Zhao, after which she licked her lips, as if she was seducing Chen Zhao. She made no effort to avoid Dell at all. If you still keep these metal granules beneath your skin, I'm afraid that you wouldn't even feel anything in the future. Is it that serious? I thought it is just temporary maladjustment. The doctor also said that my body wouldn't get used to them anytime soon. I think you should smash the office of the doctor who suggested implanting metal granules. In fact, I've also had patients who had similarly operations, but they only had safer man-made fiber. I suggest taking all the metal granules out. Can you help me to implant man-made fiber? No, but I can take out the metal granules for you. Must I? Perhaps I'll be good a few days later. Dell was extremely unwilling. Up to you, but the next time you call me, I might need to perform penile amputation. All right, I'll listen to you. Hearing that his thing might have to be cut off, Dell agreed in terror at once. Although he seemed to enjoy seeking trouble, he clearly did not really want to kill himself. Dell looked at Chen Zhao. With his eyes sparkling, he asked, "Will it hurt?" "I'll use acupuncture to relieve the pain, so don't worry. You might even feel pleasure from the process. Of course, try not to come." "How long do I need before I can have sex again?" 1 week, during which you must not touch water or have sex. If you can get yourself some sedative, inject a small amount every day. And Sura, I suggest you wear more clothes during Dell's recovery. It's to ensure that his wound wouldn't tear apart. All right, I'll listen. Help me get the metal granules out first. The operation was more troublesome than complicated. In addition, it was even more troublesome to relieve pain via acupuncture. Chen Zhao urgently hoped that he could find a way to get controlled drugs. This would save him much trouble. Many of Chen Zhao's patients required pain relief or sedation. If he had painkillers or sedatives, treatment would be much easier. The entire process took 3 hours. Chen Zhao finally managed to take out all the metal granules. There were 38 in total, all of which were rice grain-sized. Then, he applied some self-made medicine to heal the damage to soft tissues. While the metal granules looked smooth, their surface was actually quite rough when observed under a microscope. Long-term implantation was therefore extremely dangerous. Take this medicine. If it's itchy, wash it, dry it, and then apply the medicine. Dell strained to stand up and hug Chen Zhao. Chun, thank you. Sura came with some cash and gave it to Chen Zhao. Right, I should leave now. You sure you're not having some with Sura? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. I'm worried that your dick will explode. As Chen Zhao left Dell's manor, he received a call from David. Chun, it's amazing. Your potion's amazing. I feel like Superman now. Yep, I've also done a blood analysis for you. There's no problem at all. Oh yeah, where are you now? Police station. I'm at XXX. Why? Come and fetch me. Then, I'll perform further examination on you. Great. I'll be right there. Soon David arrived. Where are we going now? Street 98. Why are we going there? David asked, confused. To see one of my patients. Are you treating me like your driver? If you're unwilling, forget it. I'll get out now. Fine. I have nothing to do now anyway. Only today. When they reached at Street 98, Chen Zhao alighted from the car. Okay. You can leave now. Wait. You're seriously treating me as your driver? Just kidding. Let's go in together. Chen Zhao knocked on Rufford's door. Rufford was surprised that there was someone else with Chen Zhao. Who's he? My friend. He just drove me here, so I asked him to come up. This is David. Rufford. Chun. I'm not your driver. I know. Stop emphasizing it. Come in. David scanned Rufford's room, which was filled with fitness equipment. There were even 3 different models of treadmills. The entire room was actually a gym. Moreover, there were many pieces of equipment that he had never seen before. Can I try the sandbag? David asked, walking towards the hanging sandbag. Sure. Chapter 104. Data Test. Rutherford didn't think too much about it. He may be a track runner, but he'd occasionally practice boxing before too. Of course, he didn't train to go compete. It was for the coordination of his arms. The movement of arms was especially important for sprinters. In fact, running with a different posture might bring a 0.1 second difference. Rutherford looked at how David punched and chuckled. His move was really improper, but the sandbag broke the moment he punched it. Sand shot out of the other side. Rutherford gaped at David in shock. Amazing. I'm sorry I broke your sandbag, David said apologetically. It's okay. Are you a professional fighter? No, I'm a police officer. Have you participated in the FDD before? The FDD was an annual wrestling competition held for the police in America. The top fighters in the police field from all over the country participated. If they went with boxing rules, these elites would be unable to compare to the boxing kings, but if they went with free sparring, they could produce a few kings. No. Then how come your punch is so strong? Rutherford asked curiously. Ask Chen. David pointed at Chen Zhao. Rutherford turned in confusion and looked at Chen Zhao. I brought him over to show you my results. I can raise a person's physical fitness. It's permanent too. These are his blood test results. Chen Zhao handed it to Rutherford. Rutherford could read the results. After all, he had to do more than 100 blood and urine tests each year. He was familiar with the numbers. Of course, most of the blood tests were to allow the athlete to understand their own condition. The results could show the athlete's current condition clearly. Rutherford looked at the numbers he was familiar with and couldn't help but gasp. These numbers were better than him, a professional athlete. No, they were much better. Not even many top athletes would have these numbers. His red blood cell ratio was 2.4 times higher than average. What did this mean? It meant that David's aerobic endurance was stronger than others. He could carry more oxygen. If David did long-distance running, he could perform well with just these numbers. Of course, if he wanted to reach the top international level, it wasn't just physical fitness. He also needed professionalism and a bit of luck. David's other aspects were practically all at the top level too. David, are you Chin's patient too? No, I'm his lab rat, David said, wanting to both laugh and cry. Rutherford looked at Chen Zhao with a heated gaze. I understand why you're confident in sponsoring me now. You have machines for testing fitness, right? I have a sync runner and boxing instruments, and that's it. I can't afford expensive things. Of course, with these numbers, machines weren't necessary. For example, only dumbbells and weights were needed for things like bench pressing, deadlifts, and squats. Other than treating your leg, I brought David here today to do some data testing for him. No problem. David, do you plan on becoming a professional athlete too? No, David said, shaking his head. I'm very satisfied with my current job. I don't plan on becoming an athlete. The 3 sets were very easy. David first did deep squats. He could push up to 605 pounds, while he weighed 165 pounds. This weight had surpassed the world record. Next was the bench press. His maximum was 516 pounds. This also broke the world record. The third test was the deadlift. His maximum was 650 pounds. This was close to the world record. Rutherford was dumbfounded at this. It wasn't strange for an extremely fit and strong athlete to break a world record. Breaking 3 world records was enough to shock the entire sports industry. Deep squats, bench presses, and deadlifts tested different muscle strengths. For example, deep squats mostly tested muscles in the knee, calves, thighs, waist, and shoulders. Bench pressing exercised muscles in the arm, shoulder, and chest. Deadlifts were similar to squats but also a bit different. It was practically impossible to train to the max for all 3. Rutherford looked at David's figure. He couldn't tell that this body contained such power. You aren't Captain America, right? Rutherford joked. If I put my uniform on, I can take on the role. Then they did the sync running. This mainly tested the muscles' movement structure, endurance, activity, and heat release. It was a test that all track runners had to go through. What made Rutherford depressed was that his numbers weren't comparable to David's at all. If David trained in sprinting, he could easily do 100 meters in 9 seconds or even faster. He was like an all-around athlete and all his numbers were practically perfect. Chen, you're in charge of whatever treatment and rehab I have to go through. Rutherford had total respect for Chen Zhao now. Giving a non-professional athlete these extreme numbers proved Chen Zhao's professionalism. At least, no coach or doctor in this world could do it to this extent. David, are you sure you don't want to change your career? Chen Zhao asked, grinning. I can sponsor you. With David's current body, he could win something in any competition he participated in. Chen Zhao would definitely make money without any risks. Chun, isn't Rutherford enough for you? If I can ensure that I'm making money, no one would mind making a bit more. I'm fine. I like being a cop more. Or a superhero, Rutherford said, laughing. Oh right, you don't have any other conflicts with your club, right? No. Those assholes have abandoned me. Then what about the qualification for the Star Invitational? I'd applied for it, so it's under my own name. I'm worried if I can step onto the track in a month though. Chun, is a month enough? Of course. I'll let you shock the entire world at the Star Invitational. Oh, someone who called himself a coach contacted me in the morning. He says you recommended him. How is he? I don't know about professionalism, but he's cheap enough, Chen Zhao said, smiling. Chen Zhao wasn't a billionaire. Even if he was investing, he still had to consider the expenses. He had to save whenever possible. After Rutherford's treatment, he gave some more reminders. Compared to yesterday, Rutherford was clearly more confident and optimistic. Chen Zhao bringing David here gave him a lot of confidence. Chapter 105. The Poorest Spiritualist in History. After leaving Rutherford's apartment, David suggested, how about a drink together? Sure. Your treat. David drove his car looking for a bar. On their way, David suddenly pointed at the roadside and said, "Look, is that not Miss Sienna?" Chun Zhao turned his head too. Carrying at least a dozen bags of various sizes, Sienna was walking on the street with much difficulty. Chun Zhao was unwilling to have any contact with Sienna, but David had already pulled over. "Miss Sienna, do you need help?" "Oh, it's the two of you. Come and help. Carry all my stuff into your car." Sienna was not polite with Chun Zhao and David at all. "I can do it myself." David walked up and carried a suitcase with one hand. Very quickly, he carried all of Sienna's luggage into the car. The trunk was not large enough, so David had to put the rest onto the roof of the car. "Chun, why do you always bring so many pets with you outside?" Sienna looked at the several demons who crowded the rear seats with her. "If you don't want to share a car with my kids, you can get out now and walk." "Miss Sienna, are you moving houses?" David immediately changed the topic. "No, I was chased out by the owner." Where do you plan to go next?" "Nowhere. Chun, how about I stay at your place for a while? You have an empty room anyway." "No, I don't like to share a house with a stranger." Chun Zhao rejected without hesitation. Nobody knew if Sienna would discover his secrets. What if she entered Blackie's space crevice? Hellhound knew no one else. By then, Sienna would definitely be devoured in one piece. "How about my place?" "I'm staying alone," David asked carefully. "Sure," Sienna agreed without a second thought. She was totally broke at the moment and urgently needed a place to stay. Even though she had no affection for David, she did not mind staying in the same house as him, provided he would not harass her. "Miss Sienna, why are you so poor now? Aren't you a spiritualist?" "What about spiritualists? Can't spiritualists be poor? Damn, why is the rent in Los Angeles so expensive? Also, the pay your police station gives me is way too low. If you invite me next time, I must increase the charge," Sienna said, gritting her teeth. "So where are we going now? How about a meal? I haven't had lunch." "Oh." Realizing that David and Chun Zhao were silent, Sienna said again, "I know a decent restaurant." "What sources of income do you have?" David asked curiously. "Not just a consultant for our station, right?" David knew that his police station had a few consultants, but they would only get paid minimally, perhaps less than $100 each time. "I also do exorcism. Oh yeah, if you need such things you can contact me." Chun, ignore my last sentence. "I thought spiritualists should be very rich. Where did you get that idea from?" "Since I've been in Los Angeles, I've only done exorcism twice. I received $2,000 for one of them, and only $300 for the other. And that's like 3 months ago." "You can send your evil spirit servants to wealthy families and create trouble. Then you show up and solve their problem," Chun Zhao suggested. "Chun, don't discuss about how to blackmail in front of a policeman." "Fine, I was joking. That wouldn't work. My evil spirits can't even show up under usual circumstances. Neither can they affect normal humans." It seemed like Sienna had had this idea before, but it would not work. "Then why can we all see them last night?" Ask Chun. He should know it better. "Nope. I'm an amateur." "You must be mocking me, right?" "I was being honest." Chun Zhao shrugged his shoulders. "Give me your name card. If you know clients who require these things, I'll introduce them to you." "Why? Aren't you stronger than me?" "I said I'm a doctor. I don't exorcise spirits." "By the way, Miss Sienna, why don't you appear in TV shows like those famous spiritualists?" "They're all tricksters." "Damn, stop comparing me to them. The spiritualists I know who orate on TV shows are all tricksters. Every single one of them." "Since these tricksters can do it, why can't you?" David's question was really stupid. Even Chun Zhao rolled his eyes. Oh, clearly it was because they had a team behind them for planning and hyping. All these required money. The so-called spiritualists who orated on TV shows were more or less similar to celebrities. They needed to invest a huge sum of money, which Sienna was certainly lacking. Moreover, even if she had that much money, she might not be talented enough. Real spiritualists might not actually be great talkers. Because of Sienna, Chun Zhao and David changed their plan and found a restaurant instead. "David, do you always eat so much?" "Not my fault. Chun gave me a potion today. It greatly increased my physical strength but also my appetite. Sienna looked at Chen Zhao. Greatly increase physical strength? Unless it's a magic potion. Chen, are you also an alchemist? Amateur. Oh. Why do I feel that whenever you say you're an amateur, you're just humiliating me? You really feel I'm humiliating you? Sienna nodded, yes. At least your feeling is right. After lunch, Chen Zhao was also asked to help Sienna move. David lived in an old apartment. There was no elevator and the stairwell was rather moist. Sienna complained about it, but she had no other choice anyway. Fortunately, David's room was quite clean. Apart from his own room, there was another empty one. Let me warn you first. If you dare to enter my room without my permission, I'll curse you to never be able to get hard. Don't try to challenge a witch's tolerance. With a long face, David asked, what if I ask you to move out now? I'll change your sexual orientation. Chen, you'll protect me, right? Sorry, I can't help you. I'm an amateur. Finally tidied everything up after an afternoon's work. David, do you have ingredients here? Let me make you dinner. Huh? You're cooking. Are you good at cooking? No, I've only made dinner once before. Today will be my second time. What? I think we should eat outside today. David was terrified. What could a person who had only cooked dinner once make? Dark cuisine. Chapter 106. Crazy Magical Dinner. Seeing that neither Chen Zhao nor David were interested, Sienna uttered, Magic banquet. Magic banquet? What the heck? What's a magic banquet? David asked curiously. A witch can only hold 3 magic banquets in her life. The first one is the baptism, the day I officially became a witch. It's dedicated to my teacher. The second is the welcoming. And what does that mean? When a witch makes friends with regular people, she'll host a welcoming dinner. It means welcoming them to the magic world, while also blessing the regular friends to not be hurt by magic. Would it be dangerous if I don't go to the magic banquet? David swallowed. He felt like Chen Zhao wouldn't need it since he was so powerful. Probably nothing could defeat Chen Zhao. So the regular friend that Sienna spoke of was clearly him. No, it's not the Middle Ages anymore. This is an old witch tradition that has been passed on till now. It's just a blessing now. Eating it doesn't mean you won't be hurt by magic. Not eating doesn't mean you're in danger. Chen Zhao was actually quite excited for it. The name itself made him anticipate it. There's a lot of food in the fridge. Use whatever you need. Before that, I need some other seasonings and flavorings. Sienna ran into her room and took some bottles out of her luggage. What's in there? Some mix is necessary for magic banquets. Sienna was obviously a skilled chef familiar with all sorts of kitchen tools. David and Chen Zhao were both interested in how she made the magic banquet, so they watched from the side. Son of nightmares, listen to my prayer, reply to my calling. Give your servant your blessing. As Sienna mumbled, she poured the magic potion in the bottle into the pot. A mesmerizing fragrance rose up from the bubbling soup. Smells so good. Whisper of nightmares complete. Sienna was quite satisfied with her product. After pouring the soup into a bowl, Sienna began the second dish. She started mumbling again. Turbid fog, extend your feeler and touch my soul. I swear with magic to share the turbidity with you. Sienna reached into a box and took out a wriggling worm. You! Chen Zhao almost threw up as he watched Sienna toss the worm into the pot. Chen, what's wrong? You don't feel good? Did you see what she just threw in? What? David seemed not to have seen it. I don't feel good. I'm going back. Chen Zhao shook his head. He'd completely lost his interest and appetite for the magic banquet. You aren't going to stay for dinner? Sienna is preparing for it so seriously. The dinner isn't that significant for him, Sienna said. My magic power isn't as strong as him, so it won't have any effect on it. I see. Then Chun, should I take you back? No need. Enjoy dinner with Sienna. I'm leaving. Oh. When Chen Zhao got home, Fei Lai was in the living room. Chun, you're back this early today? Walter, come to me. Instead of Chen Zhao, Fei Lai was clearly more welcoming of Walter. You don't look good. Are you sick? No, I got disgusted. Chun Zhao waved his hand. I'm going to work in the basement now. If you need me, knock on the basement door 3 times. Which door? The outside one? Or the one inside? Fei Lai's expression was awkward. The inside one. Oh, heat up some food for me. I'll eat it when I come out. Sienna's magic banquet disgusted me. Chun Zhao entered the spatial crevice and started today's research. Blackie, you know about angelic crystals. Oh, you have angelic crystals? Yes, and quite a lot. Don't you owe me demonic crystals? You can pay me in angelic crystals. Beelzebub hates angelic crystals. You don't? I do, Blackie replied. To a demon, angelic crystals burn like a hot brand. Then why do you want it? Angelic crystals hurt you instead of giving you benefits. What can you use it for? Oh, yes, but it's useful for souls. What does that mean? Angelic crystals can mend a soul. You know, after a person dies, their soul's memories will gradually scatter, so I can only get incomplete souls. If I can use angelic crystals to mend souls, then the complete souls will be much more valuable. Are there uses other than for souls? Chun Zhao asked, a bit disappointed. I don't know. That's all I know about angelic crystals. Oh, when you give it to me, it's best if you grind it. I don't want to touch complete angelic crystals. I owe you 200 years worth of demonic crystals. Are you sure you want the equivalent in angelic crystals? That much? I don't need that much. I only need 30 years worth. Blackie had destroyed 238 evil spirits last night. They had different forms though, so the angelic crystals received from them were different too. If he measured the angelic crystals with demonic crystals of the same size, then he got around 400 years worth. Chun Zhao was researching all types of medicine now, so he needed a lot of material. He summoned Raz again. Raz, I need poisonous vines, scales of fire snakes. It's 35 years worth of demonic crystals. Raz, do you want angelic crystals? Huh. Living Lord, you have angelic crystals? Yes. Are you planning on selling angelic crystals? If you want it. How much do you have? First tell me what price you'll give. I'll buy it with twice the demonic crystals. I learned from Beelzebub that you demons don't need angelic crystals and hate it instead. What are you going to use it for? Ha! It's valuable because it's rare. You humans hate weapons, but weapons are always so expensive. Angelic crystals are destructive on demons, but there are still some who turn it into weapons. It's too rare though, even rarer than demonic crystals. Twice the value in demonic crystals seems to be too low. Raz's words reminded him. It was supply and demand. To demons, this was raw material for ammunition. He couldn't sell it so cheaply. I know that my price is a bit low, but I have risks too. Angelic crystals are too rare. After I bring it back, I have to find a way to sell it too. If I can't find it, then I'll be stuck with it. Living Lord, please understand. 3 times the value. I have 30 years worth in total. If you can accept it, then this batch is yours. If you don't, I'll find another demon. Chapter 107, Demonic Sorcery. Raz agreed immediately. The sole intention of his speech just now was to lower the price. After all, if Chun Zhao decided to sell his angelic crystals to other demons, he would lose a great amount of profit. He did not have a way to sell angelic crystals at the moment, but it was only because he had never had any businesses involving angelic crystals in the past. What were angelic crystals? They were to demons as radioactive matter is to humans. 3 times the cost of demonic crystals meant nothing to Raz. Once he found a way to sell them, he could even make a 10-fold profit. It was just like how smuggling guns was always the most profitable business in the human world. Of course, little did he know that Chun Zhao was also careful this time. Chun Zhao would ask the other demons how much Raz managed to earn this time. Then, he would appropriately adjust the cost of the remaining angelic crystals. The honored living, I don't have so many demonic crystals with me. Can I pay you with my goods? Well, I've already bought what I need. I don't really need anything at the moment. Didn't you want the spatial ring last time? I have it with me. But 100 years of demonic crystals is too expensive. I still don't want to buy it. Let me give you a discount. 90 years. Chun Zhao still shook his head. Still too expensive. 85 years, I can't make it any lower. Raz's face was filled with pain. 60. No way. 80 years is my bottom line. 70 years. Any higher and I'll take demonic crystals instead. Living Lord, please show your kindness. I'll make a great loss for 70 years. Chun Zhao sneered. Never believe a profiteer's words, especially a demon profiteer. 70 years. If you accept this price, I'll give you the angelic crystals now. Subtract the items just now and you need to pay me 15 years of demonic crystals. If you don't accept, then forget it. Chun Zhao was firm about the price. Fine, make it 70, but for the remaining 15 years, please buy my goods so that my loss will not be that great, Raz said, looking as if he was having a difficult choice. Apart from those I wanted, what else do you have? Raz placed his goods in front of Chun Zhao, after which he introduced them one by one. Chun Zhao scanned the goods over and over but was not satisfied with any of them. Most of them were entirely useless to him. Do you have any demonic spell books that I can learn? Chun Zhao asked. Yes, Raz replied at once. Then, he found a golden book among his pile of goods. Chun took the golden book and gasped. It was extremely heavy. Is this book made from pure gold? It's demonic dark gold. Not the gold in the human world. It's the cheapest metal in hell. Chun Zhao inspected the book carefully. It was indeed not gold. He was somewhat disappointed by the discovery. If it was pure gold, he would sell the book directly. Are the symbols in the book demon's language? Yes, Living Lord. I recommend a demonic potion for you. It'll allow you to master hell symbols immediately. How much is it? 10 years of demonic crystals and 5 years for the spell book. Exactly 15. Chun Zhao glanced at Raz. Include 1 drop of demonic dragon blood, and I'll accept the price. After careful consideration, Raz barely accepted the deal. Demonic Spellpedia. Chun Zhao drank the demonic potion directly, and could understand the hell symbols at once. Does it include all the spells in hell? Not that complete, of course. It only contains the most basic demonic spells. You can choose suitable ones and practice them. If you want more advanced spells, I'm afraid 5 years wouldn't do. Maybe next time. After their deal, Raz returned to hell. Chun Zhao started reading the 20-kilogram spell book. He had to admit that the book was way too heavy. As a result, he could not read it for too long. With no other solutions, Chun Zhao could only drink 1 portion of the Superman potions that he had made. Chun Zhao called the potion Superman Potion. It was in fact more or less the same as the one David had. The only difference was that Chun Zhao's Superman Potion was made from perfect crystal. Its effect was therefore significantly greater than an ordinary strength potion. While Chun Zhao called it the Superman Potion, he was definitely not becoming Superman. Chun Zhao was merely going to become stronger. In comparison, Chun Zhao was looking forward to learning demonic spells much more. This was a truly supernatural power. Blood solidification seems to be a good way to treat high blood pressure. This spell looks easy to learn, Chun Zhao muttered to himself. Hell knell seems useless. It can let a person see the scenes in hell. Cry of the Ghoul. Looks like those undead spells in novels. And I need to prepare a corpse in advance. Who would bring a corpse with them all the time? Banshee's Charm. It's like advanced hypnosis. Should work great on insomniac patients. Spiritual Sting. Must be used for torturing. Blackie, I thought humans can't learn most demonic spells. Why do I feel that it's very easy? At least it's not as hard as I thought. No idea. Perhaps you're special. Lend me the book when you're done. Is there a spell that you don't know? In fact, I don't know all of them. I think there's some spells on this book that I can learn as well. Blackie and Chun Zhao were both beginners at demonic sorcery, so the two of them really had much to discuss. With the spiritual vessel, Chun Zhao would not feel tired. Although the spiritual vessel had no other uses, it could allow Chun Zhao to stay awake for 3 full days. Before he realized it, Chun Zhao had already stayed in Blackie's place for 6 or 7 hours. Blackie, I'm going to sleep. You can study it slowly. When I'm free. I need to go out and hunt too. Knock knock. Just then a deep knocking was heard in the crevice. Someone was knocking on the door in the basement. It should be Fei Lai. Chun Zhao walked to the exit. Hellhound followed him closely, reluctant to let him go. Fei Lai was on the other side of the door, which was suddenly pushed outwards from the inside. In that instant Fei Lai saw a huge black thing in the fog. Chun Zhao walked out from the inside with Walter. Then he closed the door and turned the key. Fei Lai, what up? I saw it inside. The huge thing standing behind you just now. What's that? Why did you call me out? Tell me what that thing is first. Is it a powerful demon king that's been sealed here? Are you a member of a mysterious organization that's been secretly protecting mankind all this while? Fei Lai unleashed her imagination wildly. Next time after you knock, turn around. Don't look at that thing in its eyes, or it'll devour your soul. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I already saw that thing's eyes just now. Is it already hidden in my body now? Will it eat me in my dreams? Nope, its seal is very firm. As long as you don't go past this door. Chapter 108. Accept as truth. After Chun Zhao left the basement, Fei Lai suddenly had a lot of questions. Chun, how come Walter can go in? Alright, I'll tell you the truth. Walter isn't a regular dog. I knew it. Fei Lai exclaimed. I knew that Walter isn't ordinary. It has some special duty, right? It must be so. You took him away from me because it must complete its duty. Yes, Walter is a guardian beast. He has guarded this place since ancient times, reincarnating many times. Some problems occurred this time though. He stayed in with the coastal rescue team. He saved many people, but he neglected his duty, so he was punished and got cancer. I had to bring him here so he could continue his duty. I see. I finally understand. Fei Lai believed it. She really believed it. So, if I'm here, will I affect Walter's duty? The thing sealed within the door can't come out. But if someone enters it, it may sneak into the person's body and escape like that. At that time, Walter will be punished even more severely. I understand. I won't go in. Fei Lai nodded seriously. What about you? Is it your duty to guard this place too? Pretty much, but I have more duties. You know, there are actually a lot of places in this world that seal the things you fear. My job is to patrol like a security guard and check all the seals. Are there more seals in this town? You already know enough. Asking more won't help you. There must be more seals, right? Miss, just keep imagining. However, Fei Lai's curiosity pushed her to keep asking. In the beginning, Chun Zhao could give some vague answers. Gradually, Fei Lai started throwing out crazy and absurd questions. Fei Lai was honestly pissing Chun Zhao off. Fei Lai, look at my eyes. Huh. The instant Fei Lai met Chun Zhao's eyes, a wave of fatigue hit her. The Banshee's charm was activated. Chun Zhao grabbed the unconscious Fei Lai and tossed her onto the sofa. This woman was annoying, but her body and feeling was amazing. The Banshee's charm was very powerful. They could get hypnotized easily if they weren't careful. If they went to a bar, they would get 10 corpses in a night. The only bad part about the spell was that they'd have to sleep for at least 12 hours and nothing could wake them up. At 12 o'clock, Fei Lai's screams sounded in the living room. She first checked her clothes and body. She didn't calm down until she was sure no one had done anything to her. She was sure that she'd been hypnotized by a spell, because she remembered the last moment before she'd lost consciousness. Robio, I'm sorry. I overslept. Fei Lai called Robio first. It's okay. There's not much work in the morning, but your excuse is too weak. Overslept? Robio knew that Fei Lai would never sleep in. She'd also never been late in her 2 years as part of the team. Plus, who could sleep in until 12? It's that bastard's fault. Robio was already imagining things. Fei Lai was probably late because she messed around with some man. Can you come today? I need to wash up. It'll take an hour. Oh, Ethan. Give me a hamburger. $1, thanks. I just gave you $1,500. I deserved that. Auntie Li, give me some food. Li Qing got up with a smile to get food from the kitchen. She was very grateful to Chun Zhao. The man had reached out in her most difficult period and given her a place to stay. She also knew about Chun Zhao and Ethan's relationship. Oh right. That old witch is looking for you. What old witch? Oh, your wife. Ex-wife, Ethan corrected. What does she need? I think someone in the prison she's in charge of needs your treatment. I'm not going, Chun Zhao said. He didn't like that place. He'd also never been there before. More importantly, Caprice gave him way too much pressure. Chun Zhao wasn't good at dealing with such overbearing women, let alone a prison warden. Chun Zhao felt like this woman would definitely be the behind-the-scenes boss in a TV show. Whatever. That's it? I thought you'd try to convince me. Why should I convince you? I hate her too. Ethan rolled his eyes. Good. But people who reject her usually don't have good endings. What's her number? Oh. In the end, Chun Zhao still went to the Simpson prison so he wouldn't have unnecessary problems. It wasn't smart to offend a prison warden. She didn't have any law enforcement power, but she did manage a prison. There were thousands of bastards with more than enough horrible criminals. Thus, Chun Zhao didn't want to have conflicts with a prison warden. He brought his entire family this time, even taking Blackie along. Contrary to what he'd imagined, Simpson prison wasn't that eerie. Most of the place was clean and orderly. It wasn't break time when he entered, so the prisoners were all in his cells. Judging from the environment, it should have medical facilities and doctors. Why did they look for him? Miss Caprice, where is my patient? Chun Zhao asked. Follow me. Caprice took Chun Zhao past cell after cell. Hey new kid, come here. Hey Asian, where's your room? Let's be friends. Caprice glanced at Chun Zhao. Are you afraid? Them? They're just pretending to be fierce. Chun Zhao wasn't afraid of the ones who called out. Caprice took Chun Zhao to a cell at the end of the hall. There was only one prisoner, an old man around 60 years old. He sat on the bed and was extremely thin. Chun Zhao observed him. He'd probably just come in. He was clean, and though he was wearing the prison uniform, he still looked very composed. He's your patient. Chapter 109, Ethical Bottom Line. What illness does he have? Here are his medical records. Caprice passed the prisoner's medical records to Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao scanned the records. Diabetes, high blood pressure, thrombus. These are all common elderly diseases. I can't treat these diseases fully. I can only relieve his condition during an episode. He needs more comprehensive treatment and rehabilitation. I need you to ensure that he won't have an episode during his next checkup. What? I want you to ensure that he won't be eligible for medical release, Caprice said. Why? From his medical records, he's indeed eligible. Do you know why he's here? I'm a doctor. I don't need to know such things. Raping young girls. In court, 28 female victims testified against him. He committed the crimes over a span of 43 years. Among his victims, there were 2 who were only 2 years old, one of whom eventually died. Another 5 females are on the autism spectrum, probably because of the psychological trauma they had experienced when young. From the information the prosecution collected, there are at least 20 more victims, but they were unwilling to appear in court. His case lasted for 6 years. Finally, the Supreme Court convicted him of his crimes. In these 6 years, the mother of one of the victims was beaten and severely injured by unidentified gangsters the night before court. She's still in the ICU. 5 of the witnesses received death threats. Caprice glanced at the old man in the cell. The old man also raised his head and looked back. He's a rich man. If he's released on medical grounds, then all our previous efforts would be in vain. I see. Chun Zhao had originally thought that as a doctor, he should give every patient the correct diagnosis and treatment, advice from a purely professional perspective. However, after knowing the old man's crimes, he felt that even his professional ethics could not stop him from wanting to kill the old man. That time, even when Chun Zhao was shot by the beautiful female killer Kelly in the chest by her sniper rifle, he did not think about killing her. The first time he had ever wanted to kill someone was in the hospital, and his target was that brutal gangster. The old man was the second person Chen Zhao really wanted to kill. Chen Zhao lifted his head and scanned around him. Caprice looked at Chen Zhao. It's a surveillance blind spot. Thanks. Chen Zhao nodded. Can I go in now? Caprice entered the password onto the lock, and the mechanical door opened. Chen Zhao walked in and Caprice also left. Hi. Chen Zhao smiled and walked towards the old man. The old man also smiled. His smile was so kind and warm, just like the sunlight in winter. Hi, are these your kids? Smiling, the old man clapped his hands. I have a few dogs at home too. No idea how they are now. Nobody's taking care of them and it's really worrying. I really hope to leave this place as soon as possible and see my kids again. I'm afraid that won't be easy. Chen Zhao sat down on the bed. I'm a doctor. I need to perform a checkup on you. The old man did not cooperate. Instead, he only smiled gently. Kid, do you need money? How much can you give? Chen Zhao asked instead. 200,000. Kid, you're a great young man. You deserve this much. 200,000 and you can buy my ethical bottom line. The old man's expression changed slightly. Just say an amount. I believe you know what's appropriate. What outcome do you want? I want you to certify that I need to be medically released. He wants me to give him a certificate? Chen Zhao did not even have a medical license, so he could obviously not give a legal certificate. Of course, he was not planning to get himself involved anyway. Even though he wanted to cause trouble to the old man, he was not going to use a legal approach. Caprice had called him here precisely because he was illegal and had no records as a doctor. Moreover, Chen Zhao was really not planning to take his money. Chen Zhao first performed an examination on the old man. To be honest, his body was indeed in a bad state. The old man had various elderly diseases. If he was really put in jail, his days would be numbered. Chen Zhao started hesitating. Should he heal the old man so that he could suffer longer in jail, or should he leave the old man to die on his own? The second option did not require Chen Zhao to do anything, but then he would not be able to stop the old man from being medically released. To rich people like him, medical release was equivalent to acquittal. Heal him. After some consideration, Chen Zhao made up his mind. He had to first stop the old man from being medically released. He could think about the rest later. This was the urgent task at hand. Young man, how is it? How's my body? You'll get what you need. Chen Zhao smiled. I'll give you a certificate later. Just wait here. The old man squinted and watched as Chen Zhao left. He did not believe Chen Zhao because Chen Zhao did not talk about money at all. Once Chen Zhao left the cell, Caprice walked to him. How is it? His condition is indeed sufficient for him to be released. That's not the result I wanted. Caprice's face darkened at once. Mix this medicine with his food, Chen Zhao said. What's this? You're not trying to poison him, right? This medicine can ensure that he won't be eligible for medical release during his checkup. You sure it's not poison? Please. Although I hate that old man, I'm not going to get myself involved for him. All right. Caprice gave Chen Zhao $1,000. Here's your pay. Chen Zhao did not reject the money. It was what he should receive. As he left the prison, Chen Zhao suddenly realized that he had already seen many perverts. Was everyone already so rich that sex was the only thing on their minds? More importantly, for the perverts that Chen Zhao had met, even death was not sufficient to expiate their sins. No, one of the perverts was not that bad. Del. Although he was a pervert, he only played himself and did not harm others. What he did was quite embarrassing, but he only scourged himself. Just then Chen Zhao's phone rang. It was Del, the expert death seeker. Chen, where are you? I need you. Come here quick. Tell me. Did you do something to your dick again? No, I didn't. I really didn't this time. I just raised a snake. Sounds great. Do you want to ask me about how to raise a snake? No, the snake bit my dick. Oh. Chapter 110. Del is suddenly cute. Chen Zhao helped wrap up Del's lower body and then slapped his dick. All done. Ah, hurts. Del cried out. You know it hurts? The only thing you did right is that you didn't raise a poisonous snake. Otherwise, I would be doing a resection for you. Chen Zhao looked at the corn snake curled up in a ring. It wasn't an adult yet. Corn snakes were gentle and suitable as pets. They weren't very lethal either and didn't pose a threat to humans. How did you get it to bite your lower body? It's Tsura's fault. I was sleeping and she put the snake on me. Bullshit. You pervert curled the snake on your crotch. Tsura yelled immediately. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. He chose to believe Tsura because Del was indeed a bit of a pervert. Del, I'm begging you, Chen Zhao said with a headache. Please have some other sickness the next time you make me come. Or be hurt somewhere else. You make me treat your reproductive organ every time. Actually, after becoming familiar with Del, one would realize that someone crazy and a bit dumb like him was actually quite funny. He was harmless to people around him but very dangerous to himself. He was an adult but he often did stupid things that not even kids would do. Chun, here is your pay. It's fine. It's free this time. What? You don't want money? That's so weird. You must be a fake. Chen Zhao slapped the bare dick again. I ran into a true pervert a while ago. Compared to him, I suddenly feel like you're so much cuter. You think I'm a pervert? It's the truth, whether you admit it or not. Chun, you've been here so many times but never stayed. How about you stay for dinner tonight? Tsura invited. Will you add weird things in? Chen Zhao was seriously scared. A bastard like Del had unimaginable ways to hurt himself. Chen Zhao didn't want to be a casualty. Don't worry, Tsura said. This asshole is really picky about food. Oh. Tsura and the servants created a rich feast on the grass beside the swimming pool. Chen Zhao observed the food on the table. Disregarding the things imported from places he didn't know, the commonly seen ingredients were roughly worth $1,000. A rich man's world was truly unimaginable. Del, what's your job? I don't do anything. He inherited his dad's company shares and just waits for the dividend every year, Tsura said. It's the famous CAA. CAA was a well-known management company in Hollywood. Chen Zhao had heard of it before too. There were many super A-list celebrities under them, as well as a dozen A-listers and hundreds of others. Of course, they didn't only have actors. This also included directors, athletes, musicians, and even authors. Chun, if you're interested in a celebrity, I can help you out. Are you a pimp? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. He couldn't afford celebrities. Even a B or C-lister would need at least $10,000 per night. He didn't have the capital for that. Of course, Chen Zhao also had a Chinese mindset. He didn't feel safe if he didn't have some money in the bank. He'd made $50,000 these past 2 months, but he barely spent it. The biggest expenses were the remodeling and repairs for his home. Other than that, he didn't have any large expenses. If he lived the way Del did, he would probably be bankrupt very fast. CAA wasn't just a management company. They also accepted many other projects. If a film company wanted to film a movie, they only had to pay money. Then CAA would be responsible for the director, actor, screenwriter, production, and editing. CAA would even be involved in box office division. This was their main source of profit too. CAA's influence in Hollywood reached into every corner. It seemed that every movie had actors from CAA in it. Internationally, it was thought that Hollywood had 6 major companies, but CAA was actually the 7th one hidden behind the scenes. Chen Zhao already learned from Tsura that Del was CAA's shareholder. He had 11% of shares. He was second only to the current chairman who had 15%. He would get a significant amount of dividend each year. Even if Del feasted and fucked celebrities every day, he still couldn't waste it all. Of course, Del was also a regular on all sorts of entertainment news. Of course, they only reported on his bizarre news. Chen Zhao was quite jealous, but he knew that it was only jealousy. He knew clearly that even if he worked hard his entire life, he still couldn't live this kind of life. After drinking and eating his fill, Chen Zhao decided to leave. Chun, you're leaving? Are you sure you don't want to do it with Tsura? Chen Zhao was speechless. How much did Del want his girl to have sex with someone else? He would ask Chen Zhao whenever he came. Chen Zhao really couldn't understand Del's hobby. If it was under normal conditions, he wouldn't mind doing it with Tsura. The problem was that Dell wanted to watch. Chun Zhao couldn't take this. He didn't want to act in porn for someone else. Chun, if it's you, I won't mind. Sura was incredibly open too. She said this without even blushing or blinking. She licked her red lips like a thirsty woman. They were a natural pair. When Chun Zhao got home, he was faced with a furious Fei Lai. Chun, did you put a spell on me yesterday? What? What are you saying? I never sleep anywhere other than my bed. But I slept for 12 full hours on the sofa yesterday night. You can't blame me for falling asleep when you were watching TV. Indifferent, Chun Zhao took off his shoes and hung his jacket on the coat rack. Is there food? No. Don't change the topic. Didn't I tell you already? I didn't do anything. I remember clearly that you had me look at you and that was it. You drank quite a lot of beer yesterday. Maybe you got drunk. Oh, I left a note on the table to buy some beer when you get back. Did you buy it? Yes. $98 in total. No, we share, so I'll only pay half of that. Oh. Chapter 111. Changes to the Gate of Hell. In the end, Chun Zhao still managed to change the topic completely. Nevertheless, Fei Lai was still quite angry. She sat down on the sofa in frustration and started drinking alone. After showering, Chun Zhao casually sat down beside Fei Lai. This beer is expensive and horrible. Why would you buy this brand? I like it. If you don't like it, don't ask me to buy beer next time. Ah! Chun Zhao suddenly screamed. Blackie had made an abrupt entrance from the wall. Although it was not the first time he appeared like this, Chun Zhao was still unable to get used to it. What? You saw a ghost? Wait, is there really something? Nothing. It's none of your business. Chun Zhao waved his hand, after which he began communicating with Blackie using his mind. Blackie, can you please appear in a normal way? It's very normal to me. I mean the human definition of normal. Now is not the time for this. I just came back from hunting and passed by that gate of hell. I realized that it's somewhat unusual. Chun Zhao recalled that Blackie had indeed told him there was a gate of hell in the mountain beside the town. He had originally intended to go and take a look with Blackie when he was free. However, he had been busy all this while and almost forgot about it entirely. What's with the gate of hell? I feel someone's activating it. How? Can the gate still be used? I don't know. I also thought that it's already deserted, but the huge catfish you caught in the lake last time had clearly been affected by hell. And now the gate feels weird too, so I think perhaps it can still be used. Could it be a madman planning to summon a demon army and destroy the world? No way. That gate of hell can't even completely summon demons like Beelzebub. Its effect is somewhat similar to the demonic ritual implements you have. It's almost impossible to destroy the world with that. Why is the gate of hell even there if it can only summon one or two inferior demons? I thought it can summon large demon kings or something. That gate of hell was built by humans. As a human, you should know this better. Chun Zhao stood up. Fei Lai, I need to go out for a while. Where are you going? You going to exorcise evil spirits? Or did some mysterious event happen somewhere? Stop imagining things. I'm taking my dogs for a walk. Walking your dogs? Fei Lai squinted and stared at Chun Zhao. I'm going with you. I haven't had a stroll with Walter for quite long as well. I don't think so. It's not safe at night. So you're going to leave me in this haunted house? I've no idea how many evil spirits there are in this house. And there's also a terrifying monster sealed beneath the house. I feel that the roads are much safer than here. How about I leave Walter here to accompany you? All right then. Chun Zhao heaved a long sigh. It would be really inconvenient for him to visit the gate of hell if Fei Lai followed him. However, shortly after Chun Zhao left home, Blackie said, Your housemate is behind you. What? Chun Zhao turned his head around and did not discover anything. The sky was already dark and the sides of the road were filled with grass. Fei Lai, come here, I already saw you. There was no movement. Chun Zhao called again, Walter, come out. Woof. Walter charged towards Chun Zhao, dragging Fei Lai along. Traitor. You traitor. Fei Lai slapped Walter's head in anger. Go home. No. If you insist on not going back, I'll use magic and let you stand here alone for the whole night. Do you believe I'll call the police now and say that you've molested me? As you wish. Chen Zhao was not scared at all. Not every accusation of molestation would be put on record. After all, no one could win a case with just words and no evidence. What are you going? Are you going to cast another spell on me? Chen Zhao only raised his hand and Fei Lai immediately took a few steps back. Then, she took out a pair of sunglasses from her pocket. Luckily, I'm prepared. Please, it's already dark. Are you really planning to become blind with your sunglasses? You promise you won't cast a spell on me? Do you think I'll cast a spell on you now and then carry you home? I don't care. I'm going wherever you're going. Forget it. I'm not going anymore. Let's go home. Chen Zhao gave up. Unable to lose Fei Lai, he could only go back. He planned to go to the gate of hell in the morning when Fei Lai was working. Not going anymore? How can you do that? Why not? Chen Zhao already started walking back. Are you coming or not? If not, you can wander around yourself. I'm going home. Aren't you going to exorcise evil spirits? If you don't go, will people die? If anyone dies, it's all your fault. You keep following me and I can't go. Fei Lai started hesitating. However, when she lifted her head and saw Chen Zhao's relaxed face, she suddenly realized something. You're lying to me. Fei Lai knew that if there was really an urgent matter, Chen Zhao would surely not stand here and argue with her. Although she had only stayed with Chen Zhao for a short while, she had still managed to find out about his character. Chen Zhao was not the kind of person who could sit back and watch a disaster happen. He could not remain idle if he knew that a tragedy was imminent. She had only stayed with Chen Zhao for a few days, but their neighbors Bant and Mary had been giving him stuff every day. Most of the time she had helped Chen Zhao to take their gifts. She knew that it was because of the winery fire 10 days ago, where Chen Zhao and Walter had charged into the burning building and saved 9 lives. One of them was the son of Bant and Mary. Therefore, they were both extremely grateful towards Chen Zhao. All in all, Fei Lai managed to guess that the matter Chen Zhao was originally going to settle was either not serious or not urgent. Just then Chen Zhao's phone rang. Hi. Chen, it's me, Marguerite. I need you. Fuck, what do you mean by you need me? I'm in my car right at your door. Still the same price, $10,000. Give me 10 minutes. I'm not at home. Going back now. Okay, be quick. What is it? Did something happen? Nope, it's just work. Work? Of course it's my patient. What else do you think it is? Chen Zhao and Fei Lai walked back to their house and saw a car parked before the door. Chen Zhao recognized it as Marguerite's car. Turning his head, he said to Fei Lai, You should go back. Are you bringing Walter away again? You can keep Walter. Oh yeah, go and help me take my toolbox out, Chen Zhao said. Although he had purchased the spatial ring from Raz, he would certainly not put his toolbox in the ring. After all, what would his patient think if he were to suddenly pull out a scalpel out of nowhere? Chapter 112, San Diego. Marguerite started the car as soon as Chen Zhao got in. Looking at the bloody Marguerite, Chen Zhao said after a stretch of silence, Take off your shirt. Marguerite drove and tossed his shirt out the window at the same time. Where are we going this time? San Diego. What? San Diego? That far? Yes, Marguerite replied simply. I thought you would hide deep into the forest. Why are we going to San Diego? San Diego was more than 100 miles to the southeast of L.A. However, Mountain Town was northwest of L.A. So going from to San Diego from here without taking main roads, it would be at least 300 miles. It's close to Mexico, Marguerite said. We plan on going into California Bay and getting to Mexico along the coast. Is it okay for you to tell me your escape route? I trust you, Marguerite said. Chen Zhao didn't know if he should be happy to be trusted by a gangster. How did you get this injury? All inflicted by sharp objects? Did you get into a fight? Don't mention it. It's a woman. You can't even defeat a woman. You won't be able to either. That woman is a beast. No one can beat her. Chen Zhao couldn't argue with Marguerite on this. He was a doctor, not a fighter. I don't think she went for the kill. That's why I say she's a beast. She's sadistic. Pretty. If she's pretty, then there are no ugly girls in the world. Good, it's not her. What? Nothing. After exiting the LA area, the car went on a coastal road. One must admit that the scenery was beautiful. It had started cooling down and the ocean wind blowing into the window was chilly. Chun Zhao had to keep the window open though. Otherwise, the car would be filled with the smell of blood. He couldn't stand the smell. Morguri couldn't take the cold because he was shirtless. But he didn't say anything because he was a man. Chun Zhao glanced at him. The cold breeze helps scatter your internal heat and improve blood circulation. It will help make your blood clot faster. It was basically a type of heat consumption just like jogging. Of course, if the heat dissipation wasn't controlled, there would be problems. People didn't get better at combating the cold as they grew stronger. In reality, stronger people might be worse against the cold because their heat sensations were more intense. Bearing the cold took practice. Older people were better too, because their bodily functions and heat sensations had weakened. They reacted slower to the difference between cold and warm temperatures. It was like how someone about to freeze to death would feel warm. For people freezing to death, their heat sensations were already dead, so they wouldn't feel the change in temperature. Instead, they would feel warm. Of course, with Morguri's body, he wouldn't die from some breeze. He'd just get a cold at most. Achoo. Chun, give me your jacket. I'll get cold. Me too. No, strong men don't say they're cold. Why do you see me like that? When did I say I'm a strong man? So you're not. Give me your jacket first. Giving a jacket to a man is disgusting. But in the end, Chun Zhao still did so. Oh, the car ride was around 4 to 5 hours. Chun Zhao got dizzy either because of the car or because of the wind. Morguri and his boss were hidden in San Diego but not in the city. After getting there, he drove down a small road and avoided the city. The winding path probably hadn't been maintained in more than 20 years. The surface was seriously broken. Around 2 in the morning, the car parked before an abandoned train station. It was a grave for old-fashioned trains. There were a few rusted steam trains there. One had to admit that it was a great place to hide in. Knock knock. Morguri knocked on one car and it opened. Mr. Chun, you're here. The dispirited man looked at Chun Zhao with pleasant shock. Chun Zhao remembered him. His name was something like Sanders and he was afraid of snakes. The eerie guy named Nesta and the big boss were inside the car too. Nesta was still cold as before, but he nodded when he saw Chun Zhao. Mr. Chun. The boss lay weakly in the corner. Nesta helped him up. Chun Zhao put down his toolkit and Sanders immediately moved aside. Mr. Chun, did you bring that snake again? Seems like you miss Raymond. Raymond, come meet your old friend. Raymond slithered out of the box and started going for the man. Chun Zhao went to the boss. You look bad. Where are you hurt? With the help of Nesta, the boss turned with difficulty, revealing the bloodied bandage on his back. Chun Zhao opened it and was hit in the face with the smell of rot. The wound under the bandage was 3 fingers long, stretching from the left shoulder blade to the lower back. Most of it already had suppuration. This is at least 3 days old, Chun Zhao said, furrowing his brows. Why didn't you contact me earlier? I've had these injuries before and healed in like 10 days without doing anything, the boss replied weakly. That just means you were lucky, but you won't be lucky every time. The same injury can have 2 possibilities under different situations. Some can heal itself with your immune system. Most will get infected. Chun Zhao felt the boss's forehead. You already have a fever. If you delayed it for another half day, you'd be going to the ICU. Is it serious? It's mainly because you delayed it for so long. If this happens again, either contact me in time or find hard liquor to clean the wound. Thankfully, Chun Zhao brought rubbing alcohol. This was the only medical product that Chun Zhao could get his hands on. However, cleaning the wound and cutting off the decayed flesh would be very painful without anesthetics. In addition to cleaning the wound, alcohol could also lower an object's temperature. Alcohol was highly volatile liquid. It could quickly take away heat when touching skin at room temperature. Of course, he still had to use medicine. Chun Zhao gave the boss 2 ibuprofen capsules. Most fever medicine were over the counter and could be bought at supermarkets. Chun Zhao's toolkit was always supplied with some over-the-counter drugs, such as fever medicine, pain relievers, and anti-inflammatory drugs. These often came handy. Finally, he stitched up the wound. The entire process took around 30 minutes. Chapter 113 Female T-Rex. Chun, you've saved my life again. Sitting down, the gang leader gave Chun Zhao a warm hug. I'm happy that none of you pointed a gun at my head this time. There was a moment of awkwardness for all the 4 present. Do any of you still have injuries or discomfort? Nesta and Sanders had the same kind of injuries, but they were very minor and there were no signs of inflammation. Mr. Chun, can you ask it to go away? Sanders was horrified by Raymond, who was coiled up before him. He's called Raymond. You can tell him yourself. Stop joking. It's your pet. Hiss. Snakes are really too scary. I prefer dogs. Raymond had already opened his mouth, displaying his pair of poisonous fangs. Sanders' hair all stood up in fear, but his arm was held firmly by Chun Zhao. He doesn't like that sentence in particular. You better apologize, Chun Zhao said as he treated Sanders' injuries. Sorry, Raymond, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. But, can you move away? Human, kneel down. Your apology is too insincere. Clearly, Sanders could not understand Raymond's words. Chun Zhao glanced at Raymond. All right, that's enough. You've already scared Sanders out of his wits. That's boring. Raymond twisted his body and crawled away slowly. Can snakes be trained to have such intelligence? The gang leader looked at Raymond curiously. Don't even think about raising a snake. I know a fool who tried to. The last time I went to his place, I helped to bandage his dick. What's your secret? Nothing. Everyone's been asking me the same question. I'm a doctor, not an animal trainer. I think you can consider switching to animal training. Sure. Don't find me next time when you're injured. Forget what I just said. Continue to be a doctor. It's more promising. Morgri gave Chun Zhao his pay. Chun Zhao looked at the 4 people. Are you going to Mexico? Did Morgri tell you that? I feel that if you're really going to Mexico, I'll lose a huge amount of income. I'll miss you. Chun, I'll send you home in the morning. No need. It's tiring for you to drive here and there. Chun Zhao shook his head. I'll go back myself. Send me to a place with public transport or something. Let's go to the train station then. Isn't this place a train station? Of course I don't mean this one. An hour later, the sky turned bright. Morgri brought Chun Zhao outside. However, the 2 discovered that the tires of the car parked at the side of the road had been punctured. Shit, that woman's here. Boss and the rest are in danger. Morgri's expression changed drastically, and he immediately started running back. Chun Zhao was speechless as he looked at Morgri's back. Shouldn't you at least care about me? I need protection too. Chun Zhao was about to follow Morgri when he felt some pain on his back. Something was pointed against his back. Don't move, raise your hands, don't speak. Chun Zhao turned his head. A woman who had been hiding behind the car had moved quietly behind Chun Zhao. Now she was pointing a knife at Chun Zhao's waist. Madam, do I not move or raise my hands? Raise your hands first and then don't move. Lifting his hands, Chun Zhao said helplessly, Madam, I'm a doctor. I'm not close to them. The burly woman's face and eyes were filled with fierceness. I don't care what's your relationship with them. Since you've healed Morgri, you're my enemy. Actually, I haven't healed them yet. I didn't bring any medicine. So he was about to drive me back to get my medicine. Chun Zhao was terrified. If the woman were to move the knife just slightly forward, his kidney would be penetrated. By then, he might not be able to get hard for a few months. Madam, take it easy. It's useless to threaten me, a doctor. Even if you kill me, they'll still find other doctors. Moreover, I was also forced. They're a gang and I'm only an ordinary doctor. I can't fight back at all. So I'm actually on the same side as you. Who said you're on my side? Aren't you enemy with them? I am, but I'm not related to anyone. let alone be on the same team as you. We're not enemies anyway. Let me go. The powerful woman seemed to be somewhat hesitant. It looked like she also did not really want to harm Chen Zhao. Oh. Gaia, stop. Suddenly, they heard Morguri's voice behind them. Morguri had already charged out from the house. Chen Zhao was speechless. He had almost convinced the woman, and now Morguri was going to mess everything up. Gaia, whatever you want, I'm here. Chen's innocent. Morguri sounded very angry. If this happened at any other place, Chen Zhao would surely be touched by Morguri's words. But now he could only cry. Gaia glanced coldly at Morguri, after which she looked at Chen Zhao. You said you aren't very close. Here. It depends on your definition of close. You dare to prank me. Gaia stabbed the knife forward suddenly and Chen Zhao quickly shifted his waist back. Gaia was even more enraged. You dare to dodge. Duh. If I don't, my body will be penetrated. Chen, run. Morguri shouted as he charged towards Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao bolted out. Gaia reached her hand out and held Chen Zhao's shoulder. Gaia was over 1.9 tall. In addition to her bodybuilder-like muscles and 100 kilograms weight, she was significantly larger than Chen Zhao. Therefore, Gaia was very confident with her own strength. Being able to even defeat fighters like Morguri in a few rounds, she had more or less been ignoring Chen Zhao's presence. However, when she held onto Chen Zhao's shoulder, she felt that she was grabbing a car instead of a person's shoulder. Her entire body was dragged along and then she fell onto the ground. By then, Morguri had already arrived and he pressed Gaia onto the ground with all his might. Gaia finally came to her senses. She kicked her knee and immediately managed to press Morguri down instead. Standing not far away from them, Chen Zhao seemed to be lost. Should he go up and help? Morguri's hands were restrained, but he still shouted in pain, Chen, don't mind me. Just go. Go? Go where? I don't know the way, Chen Zhao said helplessly. Chen Zhao regretted not bringing Walter with him. If Walter was here, he would be able to fight with Gaia for a while. Now it's just me. Wait, something's wrong. Chen Zhao suddenly realized that he was not ordinary either. He had increased his physical strength, so why should he be afraid of a woman? Bitch, let go of Morguri, or I'll not show mercy anymore. Chen Zhao shouted. Let me warn you first. I know Kung Fu. Pressing Morguri onto the car with just one hand, Gaia turned her head and looked at Chen Zhao. What are you going to do with me again? Gaia sneered. Chapter 114 I fell. Chen Zhao wasn't sure either. He was pretty strong, but could he really beat this giant stocky woman? Morguri was huge, but Gaia pinned him to the car, immobilizing him. Gaia hooked her fingers at Chen Zhao. Come. Chen, you're not her match. Leave. Morguri, don't underestimate me. Chen Zhao had already charged and punched toward Gaia. The woman dodged his fist easily. She raised her leg and kicked Chen Zhao precisely in the stomach. Immense pain seized him and Chen Zhao was kneeling on the ground. He'd really overestimated himself. He may have drunk the strengthening potion, but he was nothing more than a strong doctor. He thought that he was awesome, but then Gaia showed him back to his place. He heard wind in his ears. Gaia's leg was sweeping toward his face. Chen Zhao hurriedly raised his arms to protect his head. Boom! The heavy sweep made Chen Zhao's ears ring. His head felt heavy too. Morguri yelled and broke free from his restraint to grab Gaia from behind. Chen, go. Go. He'd been embarrassed by this woman so badly. Chen Zhao was going to be a despicable man today. He shot up and yelled, grab on tight. With that, he raised his leg to kick Gaia, but the woman reacted quickly. With an over-the-shoulder throw, she blocked herself with Morguri. Ah! Chen Zhao's kick wasn't weak. Morguri couldn't even stand up after that. Chen, I told you to run, Morguri cursed. Are you stupid? Chen Zhao finally realized that he couldn't beat this woman. Gaia strode forward, forcing Chen Zhao to put up a boxing pose. But then his vision blurred and another punch landed on his face. He shook his head. Before he could recover, he was hit again. If you keep hitting me, I'll show you. Ah! Another punch. Crack. There was a sudden gunshot. The boss held a gun in the distance. The muzzle was pointed at Gaia. Gaia, I don't want to deal with you due to our past. Don't let me see you again. Gaia stared at him coldly and turned away. Chun Zhao didn't know what business they had with each other. But there seemed to be a story. It wasn't the time to worry about it though. Chun Zhao wasn't in the mood. His entire body was in pain, especially his face. Looking at Gaia who'd walked into the distance, Chun Zhao went to help Morgri up. Morgri, you okay? I think you broke my back. Chun Zhao touched his back. No, it's just dislocated. I'll help you put it back. The boss, Nesta, and Sanders walked over. You too all right? Yes. Morgri's cold expression was back as he shook his head. Sanders, drive your bike and take Chun away, the boss said. They clearly didn't want to talk about this. Chun Zhao didn't want to ask either. Only Chun Zhao could fit on Sanders' bike, but Beelzebub and Carrie could squeeze in the front. After a bumpy ride, Sanders brought Chun Zhao to the train station. Chun, is your face okay? Sanders stared at the bruised Chun Zhao. Due to his identity, he didn't take off his helmet. I'm fine. You're really strong. The last time I was beaten up by that woman, I couldn't walk for 3 days. I'll just take it as a compliment. Chun Zhao stuffed his helmet into Sanders' arms. I'm leaving. You should go back too. After getting beaten up for no reason, Chun Zhao was extremely pissed. He applied ointment onto his face, but the bruising didn't fade. He bought a train ticket. On the train, Chun Zhao sat across from a sexy girl who looked to be around 20 years old. She wore a black jacket with a white tank top. With her long brown hair and light lipstick, she looked fashionable and sexy. Chun Zhao covered his face. His current appearance was going to affect his flirting success rate. You get beaten up? The sexy girl asked. I fell, Chun Zhao lied through his teeth. I have some ointment and bandages. Do you need them? No, I already applied some. Chun Zhao looked at her. A regular girl won't bring ointment around, would they? I'm a medical intern. I'm Chun Zhao. Can I know your name? Evely Model. She reached out and touched the bruise on Chun Zhao's face. It must hurt. Chun Zhao grasped Evely's gentle hand and took it down. Her hand was delicate and soft, but Chun Zhao didn't like having unfamiliar men and women touching him, especially his face. I'm a doctor too. I don't need someone else diagnosing me. Whoever hit you did it hard, Evely said. I told you. I fell, Chun Zhao repeated. Okay, so you fell. She clearly didn't believe him. Chun Zhao was embarrassed. His injuries couldn't fool a fellow doctor, even if she was only an intern. Do you live in L? Eh? Chun Zhao could only change the topic. No, but my college is in L. My hospital is there too. Evely glanced at him. Which hospital do you work at? Or a private clinic? Chun Zhao chuckled but didn't reply. You're an illegal doctor? Evely suddenly realized something. Chun Zhao looked at himself. Is it obvious? You brought your medical kit, so you must have gone to treat someone. If you're from a private clinic, you won't go to another city, unless it's a special patient. Plus you have injuries on your face. I can't imagine what kind of patient would beat up a legitimate doctor. By the way, I fell. And I could have gotten beaten up by a gangster. It doesn't have to be my patient. It doesn't matter. I'm right, aren't I? Chun Zhao pursed his lips. I guess. Why don't you go get a license? I can't, Chun Zhao answered honestly. He was a foreigner. If he wanted to get a license, he couldn't do anything else. It would take at least half a year to familiarize himself with American laws and medical practices. He'd also have to read a lot of medical books. Plus, with his history in China, he might not even get a license after half a year of hard work. When he'd first came to America, he indeed thought about testing for a license. However, after he got his current job and started accepting and becoming familiar with it, he realized that he no longer wanted a license. A doctor without a license can only kill their patients. I haven't killed any of my patients yet. That's only for now. Chapter 115, I Want Revenge. The journey on the train took an hour. Their conversation clearly did not have a happy ending. After all, most illegal doctors were not welcomed, and that included Chen Zhao. Evely, why don't you give me your number? We can have a drink together sometime. I think you should take care of your injury first. Your current appearance will scare others away. Evely stylishly turned around and left, leaving Chen Zhao alone on his seat, not knowing what to do. It was the first time Chen Zhao's face was marred by someone else. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He just could not let it go. By right, he should not be so serious with a woman. But how could she be considered as a woman? She was really just a human-shaped T-Rex. Chen Zhao took out his phone. Bored, do you know any boxing coach? Yes. Do you need one? I was beaten by someone. I'm going to learn boxing. I'm going to take revenge, Chen Zhao complained. All right. I do know a very good boxing coach. Former instructor of the Marines, but it's quite expensive. If you go by the hours, it'll be 200 per hour. Chen Zhao gasped, so expensive? Is there a package or something? Package? I'll ask for you. Great. Call me when you have an answer. As Chen Zhao walked out of the train station, Board returned the call. Chen, I've asked the coach. How is it? The coach asked you how strong you want to become. What if I want to surpass him? That's basically impossible. Fine. I also don't know what level I want. Anyway, the person who beat me was very strong. Even my face is marred. I hope that next time I meet her, I can return her the favor. The coach said that if you're hiring him for an extended period, he can spend 2 hours training you every day. It'll be 8,000 a month. 2 hours a day only and 8,000 a month? It's too expensive. He's the best in the profession, and his boxing skills are even better than those boxing champions. Of course, I mean below the boxing ring. Can I finish the training in a month? I'm not sure, but he's never trained anyone for more than 3 months. So I'll definitely finish my training in 3 months. No. If you exceed 3 months, he'll use his fist to tell you that you're not suited for it. I like that. How do I contact him? His assistant's number is. You can go to OSPI Comprehensive Fitness Training Center to find him. He's the owner. Chen Zhao looked at the time. It was already 8 in the morning. By the time I reach there, it'll be roughly the opening time of the center. Chen Zhao decided to go there and meet the powerful boxing coach. Chen Zhao arrived outside the fitness center and called the number Board had given him. Hi, I'm Lope's assistant Ola Miller. Lope is currently working. How may I help you? Chen Zhao heard a very charming female voice from the phone. Hi, mister. Board recommended this place to me. I need a boxing coach. Sure. When would you be free? We need to discuss about it in detail. I'm outside the fitness center now. I'll go down to fetch you. They hung up the phone. In less than 5 minutes, a lady with high-heeled shoes trotted towards Chen Zhao. Nice to meet you, Mr. Chen. Hi, how do you know it's me? I don't think I told you how I look like. Don't you think your surname Chen is enough to reveal your identity? Ola said, smiling. Please come in. Is Mr. Lope in the center now? Haha. It's Ms. She's still on her way. Come to my office first. Ms. Coach Lope is a woman? Yes, what? Do you discriminate against females? No, I was only somewhat surprised. I heard from Board that she's the best and also a former instructor of the Marines, so subconsciously I thought it must be a man. Even if Chen Zhao really had opinions of women, he would not say it. In America, if he dared to openly say that he discriminated against women, he might even be beaten till his was disabled, especially when he was in a fitness center filled with a bunch of muscular people. Fine. I forgive you, Ola said. Back to real business. Mr. Chen, since you want to hire Lope, can you tell me what you need? I don't have much time every day. At most 2 hours, preferably in the morning. I need Coach Lope to teach me as much boxing skill as she can. Can you tell me why you want to learn boxing in the first place? Chen Zhao pointed at his own face. Revenge. Who beat you? I need a reference. I'm not sure, but the person who beat me is strong. Chen Zhao answered, very strong. Chen Zhao was too embarrassed to say that it was a woman, especially when Morgari and he were destroyed by her at the same time. Then I'll list a few standards. Gangster, amateur fighter, professional boxer, well-known professional boxer. Which category do you think that person is in? Should be an amateur fighter, or maybe close to professional boxer. I don't know either. Mr. Chun. What's your profession? Doctor. After obtaining Chun Zhao's reply, Ola automatically lowered Chun Zhao's classification by 1 level. She guessed that Chun Zhao's enemy should be an amateur fighter. From her observation, an amateur fighter was probably able to beat Chun Zhao up like this. What's your relationship with the person? Colleague? Someone familiar? Or stranger? Do you meet often or occasionally? I'll say stranger. I was dragged into it. In fact, I don't even know why I was beaten. But I hope that next time I meet that person, I can return the favor. I have a few plans. Do you want to hear them out? Yes, please. Since the person is a stranger and you also don't know when you'll next meet, I suggest you start from the basics. You can get a membership for our gym and train your muscles for 3 months first before your boxing training. Of course, in principle, we don't encourage you to train your body just for revenge. No, I'm confident with my physical strength. I don't need muscle training but rather boxing training. If it's just gym, I can go anywhere else, Chun Zhao said frankly. Hello, good morning. Chun Zhao turned his head around and his entire body started trembling. It turned out that the female coach was the woman who had beaten him. Gaia Lope. Fuck. Chapter 116. This coach is my worst enemy. Chun Zhao was just a normal guy. How brave could he be? Should he go straight up against Gaia Lope? Before, Chun Zhao thought that Gaia was only good at fighting. Now he finally knew her background. She was the fucking former instructor of the Marines and a top wrestling coach. And Chun Zhao was naive enough to want to go up against her? He was just looking to get beat up. Gaia had already walked out. Her 6-foot-something body loomed before Chun Zhao. I have somewhere to be by. Gaia pushed Chun Zhao back into his seat with her huge hand. Lope, you know, Mr. Chun. I made the bruises on his face. Ola shuddered and then looked at Chun Zhao with pity. Could there be anything worse than this? He'd been beat up and wanted revenge, but then came to his enemy's territory to ask her to teach him how to fight. You want to learn wrestling? I was kidding. Board called me earlier. You want to take revenge on me? I'm seriously busy. Sit down, Gaia barked and Chun Zhao instantly grew obedient. Does it hurt when I squeeze your shoulder? Huh. Ow. Ola rolled her eyes. Chun Zhao's acting was so fake. Your fitness is much better than I'd imagined. I used 80% of my power, but you only have a few bruises on your face. It's okay, it's not much. Chun Zhao's smile was quite forced. Arm wrestle with me. If you win, you can leave. You sure? Chun Zhao instantly grew spirited again. I can't beat you in wrestling, he thought, but with arm wrestling I can go easy on you. Come on. Gaia already had her arm resting on the table. Ola looked at her in shock. She'd been Gaia's assistant for 6 years, and she knew how terrifying the woman was. There were many gym members with similar physiques as her, but none of them were Gaia's match. It wasn't only in wrestling. No one could even beat her in arm wrestling. Gaia's grip and instantaneous burst of power were both at a world-class level. No, she was at a beast's level. Ola glanced back at Chun Zhao. His physique, arms, and weight weren't in the same weight class as Gaia. How could Gaia request Chun Zhao to arm wrestle with her? This is completely bullying, Ola thought. Boss, if you break his arm, you'll get sued. But what Ola didn't expect was that Chun Zhao actually agreed. Grasping Gaia's hand, Chun Zhao said, I'll let you. Thud. Chun Zhao had wanted to act cool, but Gaia started without warning. I wasn't ready, Chun Zhao complained. Can't you let me finish acting cool? Fine, I'll give you another chance. Then Gaia said to Ola, Ola, you say go. The two clasped each other's hand and Ola asked, ready? They nodded at the same time. Ola waved her hand. Go. Gaia's power burst forth immediately. She didn't underestimate her enemy, because she knew that Chun Zhao wasn't a simple figure. But when she used all her might, she discovered that she couldn't move. So strong. Gaia looked up Chan Zhao to see that he looked relaxed. He even had a shit-eating grin. Should I go easy on you? You can use 2 hands. Ola gaped. This guy was crazy. In all these years, no one had ever dared to act arrogant before Gaia. Paired with Chan Zhao's expression, even Ola wanted to beat him up. Acting cool felt great. Watching Gaia use all her might, Chan Zhao grinned. Don't kill yourself. You can use 2 hands. I won't mind. Chan Zhao's arm felt like it was made of metal. Gaia couldn't make it budge. Her expression hardened and grew serious. She didn't use 2 hands because arm wrestling needed a place to apply power. Holding onto the table with 1 hand would give her more strength. Using 2 hands would actually make her weaker. A minute later, Chan Zhao felt that Gaia's strength had weakened. Gaia let go. She'd used up all her power. If she couldn't take care of Chan Zhao in a minute, it was useless to keep going. I lose. You can go. Huh. Chan Zhao wasn't used to Gaia like this. I can leave. As you wish. Then I'm going. Chan Zhao picked up his toolkit and prepared to leave. You really don't want to learn wrestling from me? Gaia asked. For free. Fuck off. What price? If it's 2 hours per day for a month, I can charge you $5,000 per month. If you want a flexible schedule, then we'll go with an hourly rate. It'll be $150 per hour. Chan Zhao thought for a moment. This was even cheaper than what Board had said earlier. How about 9 to 11 every morning? Sure, Gaia said. So I can leave now. You haven't paid yet. Oh, and don't tell anyone what happened, Gaia said. What, you think it's embarrassing? Chan Zhao looked at her quite proudly. If you want to get challenged by the people out there, you're welcome to do whatever, Gaia said nonchalantly, shrugging. Ola. Help him do the paperwork. Not everyone in the gym were muscular beasts, but most of them were. They were all familiar with Ola, so when they saw her, most would walk over to say hi. Hey, you're new, right? A muscle guy in an undershirt put his arms over Chan Zhao's shoulders as if they were close friends. Want me to be your coach? I'm the best here. I'll only charge you $30 per hour. Atai Lope is his coach and he's not here to work out either. He wants to practice wrestling. Bro, you have guts. You actually went to Lope to practice wrestling. Chan Zhao glanced at Ola. Is Ms. Lope really scary? Don't worry. All her past students are still alive. Haha. All the surrounding people started laughing at Ola's words. Can I still back out now? Chan Zhao felt like he'd made an incredible decision. Of course you can, but you better pray that Lope won't find where you're living. Chan Zhao paid the money very unwillingly and signed all the papers. He left the gym in low spirits. It felt like he was paying money to get tortured. No, it didn't just feel like it. It was the truth. Chapter 117 Check. After leaving the fitness center, Chan Zhao went to Rufford's house to treat his injuries and check his recovery. Rufford was fully cooperative towards Chan Zhao's treatment. Chan Zhao estimated that Rufford would fully recover in at most a week. Of course, he also had to come here every day. With Chan Zhao's help, Rufford's leg injuries healed at a remarkable pace. He had already met up with Board and they had a preliminary discussion. While they had yet to sign any contract, they had already reached some initial agreements. Then Chan Zhao went to Ethan's motel. Ethan was furious about Chan Zhao's dine and dash, but Chan Zhao had a great reason. He only came here to ask if there was a new client and ate lunch since he was already here. However, Ethan's place was really too boring. Chan Zhao went home after half an hour. He rarely had any free time in the morning. When he reached home, he saw Bant's small truck parked on the other side of the road. Bant and Mary were helping a young man to alight from the vehicle. Bant, Mary. Chan Zhao walked up and greeted them. Then he looked at the young man. You must be Ken. Mary approached Chan Zhao and gave him a hug. After which she said to Ken, Ken, this is Chan, the one who saved you from the fire. Thank you, buddy. Ken was still having difficulty walking at the moment and his voice was somewhat hoarse. Nevertheless, Chan Zhao still bent down and hugged Ken. How are you? I've been in the hospital for so long. My respiratory tract was scalded and I need to rest for some time. Ken's injuries were still fine. At least he was much luckier than those who had died in the fire. Because of his respiratory tract damage, he could not eat any food. He had been on glucose recently and so he was very weak. I'm a doctor too. If you feel unwell, you can find me any time. Or perhaps call me. Chun, have you eaten already? Come to my house, Mary said enthusiastically. Maybe not. You've just fetched Ken home and surely you need to take care of him. I wouldn't trouble you further. Also, I don't have a fixed working time and I might need to go out soon. All right then. I'll go back first. See you. People in America like the idea that distance produces beauty. Even if two people are very close, they would still leave each other some personal space. Returning home, Chun Zhao realized that Walter was not around. He took out his phone and called Fei Lai. Fei Lai, did you bring Walter with you? You weren't around last night and didn't even come back in the morning. I'm too worried to leave Walter alone at home, so I brought him to my workplace. All right. Remember not to tell others about it. I know. Ding dong. Chun Zhao was about to say something else when the doorbell rang. Someone's at the door. I'll hang up now. After Chun Zhao hung up, he opened the front door. Outside the door was a white-haired old man with a goatee and a fur walking stick in his hand. His clothes were neatly groomed and he looked like an old English gentleman. Hi, you're looking for? I'm Treat Pempton, owner of the winery. The white-haired old man nodded gently and extended his hand. Hi, I'm Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao shook Treat's hand. I know you, young man. You saved my people. Please come in. Chun Zhao invited Treat into his house and Treat sat down. What would you like to drink? Tea or coffee? Tea. Thanks. Chun Zhao made a cup of tea and put it in front of Treat. Mr. Treat, how may I help you? I'm here just to thank you. You're a great man. Treat took out a check and put it in front of Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao was momentarily stunned before he shook his head. Sorry, but I can't take it. Why? It doesn't belong to me, Chun Zhao answered. It's rightfully yours. Chun Zhao still shook his head. If he had saved a few patients with his medical skills instead, he would not have rejected the check because that was his job. It was only reasonable for him to take his pay. However, saving those people from the fire was not his usual job. In fact, Chun Zhao had charged into the burning building with some selfish intent. First of all, Walter had already charged into the building. When he went in, Carrie followed him. Chun Zhao therefore felt that he was at least safe. Moreover, Chun Zhao had actually already benefited from his deed, namely the second perfect crystal. Thus he did not want to get paid again. It was his own principle. The number on the check was indeed alluring, but Chun Zhao still did not want to take it. In fact, Chun Zhao was but an ordinary human with three principles. Don't ask for trouble, don't leave anyone in the lurch, and don't commit evil. If the first and second principles had a clash, he would follow the second principle first, while if the first and the third had a clash, he would follow the third one. For example, treating the perverted old man in Caprice's prison was a huge trouble. Therefore, Chun Zhao followed the third principle first. Treating that old man was in fact equivalent to committing evil. Of course, Chun Zhao still decided to treat him so that he would remain in jail for longer. Chun Zhao would never reject any money he should take, but he would not take what he should not. Mr. Treat, please don't put me in a difficult position. Fine. Kid, if you need anything, call me anytime. Sure. By the way, can I ask if the land beside the lake on the edge of the town is private or owned by the town? That barren land? It belongs to the town. Do you want to develop it into a farm, or perhaps live there? I don't think you can turn it into a farm because the soil quality there is average. More importantly, in the Mexican-American War 170 years ago, that was a main battlefield. Large amounts of gunpowder seeped into the soil, so the land is no longer suitable for agriculture. I'm planning to build a house there. Of course, it's only a preliminary idea, and I don't have a detailed plan yet. If you want to build a house, you need to pay for the land, the house, and build a path to the main road that's at least 3 kilometers. You need at least $150,000 just for an ordinary road. How much does that piece of land cost? Are you sure you're going to buy it? I need to know the cost first. I'm not too sure, but I can ask for you, Treat said. That's great. Thank you, Mr. Treat. I should be the one to thank you. Right, I should leave now. Bye, Treat said, standing up. Aren't you going to stay for a bit longer? Nope. If I keep staying here, you'll probably feel more uncomfortable. Ha! Treat was indeed an astute man. He could tell that Chen Zhao was somewhat uneasy in his presence. Chen Zhao sent Treat to the door when his phone rang again. After Treat waved his hand and left, Chen Zhao picked up the call. Ethan, what's up? New client for you. Chapter 118 Orphanage. What's the price? Quote your own price. What do you mean? Don't you decide on the price first when you talk to clients? 399 Bin Road. I'll send the exact address to you later. Bye. With that, Ethan hung up. All Chen Zhao could do was call Vincent and get to 388 Bin Road. When he got there, he looked up and realized it was an orphanage. Chen Zhao massaged his temples. It seemed that he wouldn't earn anything from this job. How much money could an orphanage give? Even if they could, Chen Zhao wouldn't want it. It was troublesome. The metal gate of the orphanage wasn't closed. It seemed to have broken and hadn't been repaired in a long while. Chen Zhao waited for a bit before an old woman in plain clothing walked out. She came over when she saw Chen Zhao. Hello, are you the doctor? Yes, I'm the doctor. Who needs treatment? I'm the administrator of the orphanage. Please come with me. The orphanage was quite large. There were some recreational structures for the kids, but they all looked really old. There was a slide with chipped paint, a rusted seesaw, and a yard of fallen leaves that no one raked. Looking up at the tower, one could see various youthful faces in the window. The orphanage was quite depressing. The main building was 4 floors and looked to be from the 20th century. The wall was dark gray and the stones in the corners were weathered. Walking in, the hallway was dark too. Lighting was bad in this type of building, but the lights weren't on either. Chen Zhao couldn't see the way clearly, but it still felt uncomfortable. Kids who grew up in this environment wouldn't be very healthy mentally. The hallway seemed to be lined with craft rooms. Kids inside were making some sort of cards. Administrator, what are the kids making? Christmas cards, she answered as she walked. It's almost Christmas. The kids will bring these cards along to sell on the street. $1 per card. Is money this tight? The government gives the orphanage $50,000 every year. Adding the donations from all around the world, we get around $200,000. That seems quite a lot. We have 400 kids. On average, each child has less than $500 per year. Do you still think it's a lot? The administrator's reply was cold but also a bit helpless. There are that many kids here. Actually, we even owe the electric company. They once came to warn us that if we don't pay the bill, they'll cut off our electricity. 2 volunteers and I went to the company to threaten them that if they dared to, I'll destroy their reputation. Chen Zhao didn't know what to say. The administrator was using blackmail, but she had no other choice. Is one of the kids sick? No, a volunteer, the administrator replied. Chen Zhao was led to the last room. A young man was lying on a bed. The trash can nearby was filled with bloody tissues. A girl was crying beside him. She seemed to be around 11 or 12. Chen Zhao immediately went over. The young man had several knife wounds on his stomach. How did you get hurt? Chen Zhao asked. It's me. I hurt Mr. Carey. Doctor, please save Mr. Carey. Don't worry. He won't die. Chen Zhao checked the injury. It was basically just skin trauma and blood loss. He hadn't hurt his internal organs. The wound had to be disinfected, so Chen Zhao first gave him an antibiotic. Hey, are you still fully conscious? Yes. Carey nodded. He was hurt, but he wasn't that weak. He was still clear-headed too. I'm okay. Then he turned to the girl. Cheryl, I don't blame you. Stop crying. This man was really attractive. Even from a guy's point of view, he was still overly attractive. This girl probably liked her super attractive teacher. Chen Zhao wondered if she confessed to the teacher but was rejected. So her love turned to hate and she stabbed him. After the treatment and bandaging, Chen Zhao said, "Don't get it wet or do intense exercise or eat irritating foods for 3 days. Also, keep this bottle of antibiotics. Take 2 after each meal. You can take off the bandage in 3 days." "Okay, thanks. How much should I pay you?" "Carrie, I'll pay," the administrator said. "After all, you got hurt here." "No need," Chen Zhao said as he packed up. "I'll do it for free." "That's not right." Chen Zhao picked up his kit. "Here's my card. Call me if you need anything." At that time, the girl ran over to Chen Zhao. You're not as attractive as Mr. Carrie, but you're a good person." "What the fuck? Are you insulting me or complimenting me? I don't need this kind of compliment." Chen Zhao's expression grew uncomfortable. "Madam, I must leave now." "Thank you, young man. May God bless you." Chen Zhao didn't like this place. The atmosphere was too suffocating. He left like he was escaping. It was still early when he got home. Only around 4 p.m. He saw 5 police cars drive past the road before him. What happened in town? Chen Zhao mumbled to himself on the side of the road. How come there are so many cops? Just then a car stopped before him. Leonardo's head poked out of the window. "Hi, Chun." "Leon, what happened?" "Someone died." "Oh, how?" "Suicide by hanging." "You don't need all these cops for that, right?" "It's a wanted criminal who's been hiding in town. He rented a place. The landlord went to collect rent today and found the guy dead inside." "I won't keep you from work, then." "I don't have much. How about we go get a drink?" Leonardo asked. "Are you sure I'm not disturbing your work?" "I'm just a patrol cop. Solving cases has no place for me. The crime team will take care of it." Chen Zhao got into Leonardo's car, and they went to an open-air restaurant near the site of the case. "Chun, where's your big dog Walter?" "He's with his mom." "Miss Jerlin?" "No." Chen Zhao shook his head. "I'm not dating Jerlin. It's Feilai, that woman you brought over that made a big scene. She's my roommate now." "What? What happened before this?" Chapter 119 Business for Sienna. From afar, Chen Zhao saw a few police carry a corpse out from a house surrounded by police tape. Chen Zhao also saw a few familiar faces. The police seemed to be led by Melson again. Melson also noticed Chen Zhao and walked towards him. "Chun, how come you're here? Do you know Leon?" "Hi, Melson, I live in Mountain Town. Leon is the patrolman here. Do you want to sit down and have a drink with us?" "I'm still working. Police can't drink during working hours," Melson said with a serious tone as he glanced at Leonardo. Leonardo felt really awkward. Melson suddenly laughed and patted Leonardo's shoulder. "Leon, I was just joking. Give me a glass." The atmosphere became much more relaxed. Melson was rather unreserved. After getting a glass, he downed the alcohol one mouthful. "Amazing. The corpse has been in the room for over 10 days before it's discovered. It really stinks." "Hey, stop talking about it. Or we wouldn't be able to eat anything on this table anymore." "Mr. Melson, did that person commit suicide?" Leonardo asked curiously. "No. Although we haven't found any key evidence, I believe in my own deduction. That fugitive committed a very serious crime. This kind of person is very strong mentally. How could he quietly kill himself in a house he's rented?" Melson glanced at Chen Zhao. "Chen, you look unwell. Don't tell me you're involved in this case." Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. "I'm just surprised by the crime rate here. I've only been here for 3 months and so many crimes have happened around me. I can't imagine the same thing happening in China." "Is the crime rate in China very low?" "At least I haven't experienced any homicide cases around me. And also nobody's ever pointed a gun at my head." "Someone pointed a gun at your head? Is it that female killer? By the way, did that female killer find you at all after the incident?" "No." Chen Zhao shook his head. "You better be careful. That female killer is a criminal wanted by Interpol. Her file is thick enough to make a textbook." But if I meet her, I don't think I can do anything. Hope that you can arrest her as soon as possible." Chen Zhao felt someone stare from the distance. He lifted his head and saw a woman near the police tape looking at him. Chen Zhao recalled that woman as Gina, a forensic doctor. Chen Zhao felt very uncomfortable being stared at by the woman. The first time they met, she seemed to be particularly interested in that female killer. He had no idea what their relationship was. Is Jerlin not here today? Haven't you been contacting with her? Melson glanced at Chen Zhao. We normally wouldn't ask about each other's work, Chen Zhao replied, slightly embarrassed. Chen Zhao had been busy the last 2 days. He had to work from morning to night, and perhaps even at night. Jerlin went to San Francisco. Why did she go there? She was moved there from the police station in San Francisco. Now there's an old case she's handled before, so she has to go back and help in the investigation, Melson answered. How long will she be there? I'm not sure. Maybe a month. Oh, David, drive me to Ronan Park. Also, help me to carry these stuff onto the car. Since David consumed the strength potion, he had been becoming stronger and stronger. The 2 boxes before him felt just like 2 small bags. Sienna, why are you going to Ronan Park? Work, Sienna replied. Work? Did someone ask you for exorcism? Do you need my help? Or should we contact Chen? Sienna rolled her eyes. Please, I'm going there to set up a booth. Also, while I may not be as powerful as Chen, I'm still a professional spiritualist. I can handle most situations by myself. Booth? David was stunned. This was entirely different from the high-class spiritualists he had always imagined. A proper spiritualist was actually going to set up a booth in a remote park. After driving Sienna to Ronan Park, David helped her to build a small tent and ready the booth. Do you still need anything else? If not, I'll go to the station. Nope. You can leave now. A policeman standing beside me will really affect my business. There were very few people in the park in the morning. Sienna sat down under the tent, waiting for a customer. Sienna shifted her booth every once a while. She could not stay in a crowded place because it might cause her some trouble. Just then, a lady walked towards her. Seeing the lady, Sienna was energized at once. Today's my lucky day. There's already a customer. The lady looked somewhat weak and pallid. The dark circles below her eyes were particularly serious. Are you a spiritualist? The lady looked at the various items on the table, some of which she had never seen before. There was also an obvious crystal ball with a sign at the side. Spiritology, exorcism, divination. Yes, Ms., how may I help you? Can you exorcise demons? The lady suddenly asked softly. Demons? There's no demons in the world. Anyway, Sienna had never seen a demon, or so she thought. Sienna looked at the lady and then nodded, of course. The lady placed a mirror on the table. The demon's right inside. Help me to exorcise the demon in the mirror. Sienna picked the mirror up and inspected it carefully, but she did not find anything strange. Nonetheless, there was no reason for her to reject the customer. In fact, most people who wanted exorcism were only hysterical. The lady before her was clearly also suffering from hysteria. Of course, Sienna was not really concerned about such things. The only real thing was the money she was about to get. So she said $100. The lady took out bits and pieces of money from her pocket. She counted $100 and piled them before Sienna. Here you are. Please help me to exorcise the demon now. Of course. Taking out her magical phosphor, Sienna sprinkled it onto the mirror and chanted, "O evil existence, in the name of Satan, I command you to show your true form." Boom! A colorful flame burst out from the magical phosphor. At the same time, there was a glimpse of an illusory figure before it disappeared. This was Sienna's old trick. She would often ask Yberg to hide beside the magical phosphor. When the phosphor ignited, Yberg would show up momentarily. This visual effect would make her customer believe in her more. Demon, prepare to die. With all her might, Sienna stabbed her implement onto the mirror. Following a clear crack, the mirror started to break apart. Chapter 120: Mysterious Paranormal Activity. If she was going to act, she should do it all the way. Sienna destroyed the mirror before the woman. At the same time, The remaining magic phosphor on the mirror exploded again. Inside the mirror, they could see many screaming shadows disappear. Sienna sprawled onto the table as if out of energy. Her forehead had beads of sweat and she panted for breath. Such a strong demon. Thankfully it's daytime. Miss, the demon on here has been exorcised. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Sienna had practiced her act thousands of times. She could get an Oscar by now. The woman nodded and finally smiled. Am I free? Yes, you are free now. The demon won't disturb you anymore. The woman walked away with a satisfied smile. Sienna smiled too. Many times, treating people with dissociative disorders didn't mean healing her mind. Instead, one only had to follow her train of thought and end the thing she was imagining. Then she would go back to normal. Sienna wasn't a therapist, but she'd many of these cases before and she was used to it. She looked up but saw that the woman had suddenly climbed onto the stone fence in the front. Shocked, Sienna hurried over. Miss, what are you doing? Get down here. The park was built on the side of a cliff and the cliff, around 30 feet tall, was right behind the fence. There were jagged rocks and angry waves below. If you jumped down you really could die. The woman stood on the fence and turned to look at Sienna with a gentle smile. I'm free. Sienna's expression changed drastically. Miss, you're already free. Why do you still want to? I will return to God's embrace, no longer controlled by the demon. I no longer have fear, no longer have terror. I no longer need to hide in the shadowy corners. Miss, suicide is a sin. You won't go to heaven. No, he said that if I break free from the demon, I'll be able to return to God's embrace. He won't lie to me. Who's he? Who said that? He won't lie to me. He won't lie to me. Miss, I don't know who you're talking about, but suicide is an unforgivable sin. You'll definitely go to hell. Do you want to tell me who you're talking about? I'll go ask him and then you can decide if you want to jump down. The woman hesitated. Seeing this, Sienna immediately added, spiritualists all know each other. Maybe I know who you're talking about. Sienna felt that the woman had been tricked by a spiritualist without good intentions or a liar. He's not a spiritualist, but he only appears at night. Appears at night? Sienna frowned. Who is he? My ex. He's working now. No, he's dead. He died not too long ago. Sienna's eye twitched. She didn't know if the woman's delusions were acting up, or if she really was involved with an evil spirit. Can you tell me more details? Come down first. The woman hesitated, but she still jumped down from the fence. Sienna quickly went over and steadied her. Then the woman suddenly stood up and exclaimed, Oh my God, what's wrong with me? How could I be so impulsive? She started hitting her head and feeling aftershock. Let's go sit over there. The woman followed Sienna and sat down. Sienna kept observing her. She had to be sure if this woman had a mental disorder or was really affected by an evil spirit. If she had a mental disorder, Sienna would call the cops. If she was affected by an evil spirit, then Sienna could watch without doing anything. My ex is called Nance. After we moved, he started getting weird. In the end, I couldn't take it anymore and broke up with him. The next day, he committed suicide. Sienna frowned and the woman furrowed her brows. When I was cleaning up his belongings, I found that mirror. That night, Nance appeared before me. He told me that a demon was hidden in the mirror. I had to find a way to destroy it. Otherwise, the demon would eat my soul. Nance told you to commit suicide? Sienna glanced back at the shattered mirror on her table. He said that the demon can't be killed and the mirror will recover. I can only escape from the demon completely by killing myself before the mirror recovers. The more Sienna heard, the weirder it became. Where did the mirror come from? The former owner of our new home left it behind. Where's the former owner? I heard he had an accident. Miss, you said that the mirror will recover. Yes, I've tried many ways. I even shattered it with my own hands, but it would always reappear before me. Sienna was sure that it wasn't the mirror. At least, she didn't feel anything strange about the mirror. The mirror looked quite old, but it seemed to be just an ordinary mirror with a wooden frame. However, Sienna couldn't make any conclusions. She had to see the so-called X right now. If this X really did exist. Sienna wasn't a rookie. She actually had a very rich experience, but she'd never heard of such a complicated problem. Oh, we've already talked for so long, but I don't know your name. Chris Ackerman. I'm Sienna Yberg. Sienna had been observing Chris all this time. She was mostly sure that Chris was affected by an evil spirit. However, Chris was very calm right now. She wasn't excited after getting off of the fence. Evil spirits had different abilities. Some could affect the victim's mind. The victim would often do crazy things, such as committing suicide under the spirit's control. Sienna wasn't sure if Chris was lied to and thus made the wrong judgment, or if she was already controlled by the evil spirit. However, after this conversation, Sienna was sure that Chris was quite clear-headed, at least she was now. The evil spirit's influence may vary at times, making her suddenly have the impulse and then disappear before growing stronger at night. After days and days of this, the victim could gradually break down and finally commit suicide in misery. This was what evil spirits often did, unless they were the super frightening spirits. Those could possess someone and control them directly. Ordinary evil spirits had to use accumulated mental torture to hurt someone. Chapter 121. First lesson. Get beaten. Where do you live now? I've been hiding in a church. I don't even dare to leave the church these days. Sienna shook her head. She did not think that the people in the church knew how to exorcise evil spirits. If the church had any holy relics, perhaps it could help Chris. However, if the church was ordinary, it would not be useless for her, no matter how lavishly designed it was. Do you want to live at my place for the time being? You need to pay though. How much is it? That depends on how long you're staying. 200 for a week. What do you say? That's expensive. If I stay in a hostel, it's at most 20 every day. Chris was not rich either. After all, she was jobless at the moment. $150 then. My house is much better than a hostel. How about my problem? Another $100. I'll definitely settle all your problems. At least I can guarantee your safety. Did Nance become an evil spirit? Has he been lying to me? Chris's tone was filled with sorrow. She had totally woken up by now. Only after experiencing despair would one feel fear. She did not even dare to imagine how desperate she had been just now. Perhaps. Does your ex-boyfriend appear at night? Sienna patted Chris's leg. Most of the time. Can you really exorcise evil spirits? Are you really a spiritualist? Different from her hysterical state just now, Chris was extremely clear-headed at the moment. She even began to doubt Sienna. I'm a professional. Professional? By setting a booth here? Who told you that a professional spiritualist can't have a booth? Those orating spiritualists on the media are the real fake ones. I'll only give you the money after you settle my problem. Pay me half first. I can give you at most another $50 now. The rest after you help you. Having lost her job, Chris was poor as well. 100. I'm providing you accommodation and food. You have to pay me the rent first. Fine, 100. The rest after everything is finished. After discussion, the two finally reached a consensus. Sienna was a witch, but a very poor one. Sienna called David. David, are you busy now? Yes. What is it? I have a friend, a beautiful female friend. She wants to stay with us for a few days. Are you okay with that? Of course. As long as she wants. David seemed to be elated. Sienna clenched her fist in excitement. After she hung up, she realized Chris's face darkening. You're staying with your boyfriend? No, just an ordinary friend. It's his house. I'm just renting a room temporarily, Sienna answered. In fact, it should be borrow instead of rent. She did not have to pay any rent. Anyway, she did not have enough money to pay. As for using David's house to earn money, she was too poor to care about her dignity at the moment. Moreover, David was more than willing to let Chris move in. Ordinary friend? Is it safe? Chris did not really trust a man's conduct. That time Nance and she were roommates as well. Nance had promised not to touch her at the beginning. However, one day when she was drunk, Nance slept with her. In her eyes, all men were the same. David's a policeman and a coward. Oh, it was Chun Zhao's first boxing lesson. There were two muscular men behind Gaia who were just as heavily built as herself. Gaia waved her hand and the two men threw the protective gear they were holding onto the floor. Wear it. Do I always have to wear protective gear in boxing lessons? Chun Zhao asked. Gaia shook her head. Only the first lesson. As Chun Zhao wore the gear, he asked, why the first lesson? The two muscular men had already put on their boxing gloves. Gaia glanced at the two men, and then looked at Chun Zhao again. First lesson. Do I fight against them? Chun Zhao asked. No. First lesson is physical resistance training. What? To put it simply, you'll get beaten. I want my money back. Chun Zhao was immediately enraged. He had spent the money to learn how to beat others, not how to get beaten. With a smile on her face, Gaia stared at Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao could only ask for less. Never mind the money. I'm not learning anymore. Alright, stop complaining. They're both professional and will know what's appropriate, Gaia said with a serious tone. What are they professional in again? Beating people up. Oh. After joking, Gaia became professional again. Chun Zhao adjusted his protective gear, and the two muscular men also stood before him with their gloves ready. Chun Zhao, when you face one or more opponents, you need to make a judgment. Attack or defend. If you decide to defend, you need physical resistance, as well as defensive skills. Now, Atai and Johnny will be your enemies. Can I fight back? No, Gaia answered without mercy. Smack. Atai hit his gloves together, producing a deep sound. Young man, use your hands to protect your head. I don't want to kill you, Atai reminded. Shit, I want to go home. Everyone would be scared when cornered by two muscular men. However, when Atai's fist hit Chun Zhao's head, he only trembled slightly. It was not as painful as he had thought. Just then, Atai's second punch arrived. Chun Zhao was prepared for the first punch. However, because he was momentarily distracted, the second punch hit his ear. Chun Zhao staggered and sat on the floor. Frowning, Gaia made a hand signal at Atai. Atai removed his gloves and helped Chun Zhao to get up. Kid, are you still alright? Yes, I'm fine. What number is this? It's your middle finger. Fuck, let's continue. To be honest, Atai's punch was much less powerful than Gaia's. Chun Zhao managed to easily defend himself. Soon Johnny joined Atai's team. Johnny's attack was even slightly weaker than Atai. Chun Zhao started to estimate his physical resistance. Even though he was jointly attacked by two people, as long as they did not hit his weak points directly, he would not get injured. There would at most be a bruise. Fuck, I'm already tired. Kid, are you not tired at all? Nope, let's continue. Atai, come and rest. I'll go. I'm tired. I need rest. Realizing that Gaia was about to join, Chun Zhao admitted defeat at once. If this female T-Rex was serious, he might actually die. Chapter 122. Summoned to Hell Again. When Chun Zhao left the gym, it was already noon. Just like Gaia's charge, her classes were all high quality. At least, Chun Zhao didn't only get beaten up during this lesson. Gaia taught Chun Zhao how to use his body to block attacks from the outside world. People with better fitness weren't necessarily better at taking hits. One had to practice the ability to take hits. It was like the difference between a bodybuilder and boxer. The boxer might not be as muscular as the bodybuilder, but the boxer could definitely knock him out. In boxing, the body accounted for 70% while technique was 30%. In a fight, if the opponent couldn't hurt you, then you had a lot more choices for hitting them. After finding a random restaurant to eat lunch, Chun Zhao went to Rutherford's home. Rutherford was recovering quite nicely. He always cooperated with Chun Zhao's treatment. He was an athlete. For ordinary people, a doctor only had to check every few days and it was enough. An athlete had to be checked every day, recording the entire recovery process in numbers. According to Rutherford's current condition, he would be able to do some therapy exercises in around 5 days. Chun Zhao also called Board to tell him to get ready. On the way back, Chun Zhao called Jerlin. She was in San Francisco now and didn't know when she could come back. The case seemed to be a bit complicated. After hanging up, Chun Zhao returned to town. It was only noon, so Chan Zhao and Blackie went to the so-called gates of hell. Blackie, how much farther? LA's temperature had dropped drastically, but Chan Zhao still felt hot and stuffy while walking through the forest. It was quite tiring. With our current speed, it'll take another half hour, Blackie said. You have to climb this mountain. Blackie floated around Chan Zhao. Chan Zhao really envied this way of moving, but sadly, humans would never be able to fly without the help of machinery. Half an hour later, Chan Zhao could see a huge bottomless pit in the middle of the mountain. It was more than 100 feet wide and the hole was deep and dark. This is the gates of hell, Blackie said, floating above the pit. This is it. It looks like a normal pit, Chan Zhao said, unconvinced. There were some plants around the pit. Deeper in there was moss. Chan Zhao couldn't see anything special about it. If I jump down, will I go straight to hell? He asked. Normal people will just die if they jump down, but you can try. Chan Zhao rolled his eyes. He couldn't see the bottom of the pit, but it was at least a few dozen feet deep. Even a man made of steel would break apart after falling into it. He didn't plan on proving how special he was by jumping down. Plus, it wasn't very meaningful even if he could go straight to hell. He could go to hell without these gates. There was no need to take this risk. It seems that someone is making sacrifices here, Blackie said doubtfully while looking at the ditch. The first time I was here, only a small portion was activated. Now half of it is activated. You can see that? How come I can't see anything? It's not by looking. It's a feeling. The aura of hell is seeping from the pit. This means that it's opening. Chan Zhao didn't really mind this. Last time, Blackie had said that even if a human summoned a demon, only lower-level demons could come. They couldn't even get subordinates of the 7 sins like Beelzebub or Raymond. So it had very limited danger. After circling it, Chan Zhao decided to leave. It wasn't very fun at all. Chan Zhao even regretted climbing the mountain for so long to come see the gates of hell. At home, Chan Zhao took a shower, washing away all the dirt and fatigue from his body. Then he went to the basement to study demon magic again. Blackie was interested in it too, so they studied together. Right then, Chan Zhao suddenly felt something familiar. Oh, Chan Zhao, what's wrong? Blackie looked at him in confusion. Chan Zhao was slowly disappearing. Is it some magical effect? No. I think someone in hell is summoning me again. Was it Beelzebub? How come he summoned him without any warning? But when Chan Zhao reached hell, he was somewhere unfamiliar. There was a black castle connected to a mountain. Black clouds shrouded the sky. Eerie cries sounded in the dark mass above the castle. Chan Zhao looked down. There was a complicated magic array. It wasn't Beelzebub. He looked up and saw Beelzebub standing there in his true form. However, there was an even taller and bigger demon beside him. Beelzebub's true form was around 16 feet tall, but the demon beside him was like a mountain of flesh. His lower body was like a fat insect. A total of 8 legs stretched out from either side of his abdomen. His upper body was upright. Asymmetrical scales covered his dark skin, and there were complex red lines on his stomach. He had 3 pairs of stocky arms but no neck. There was a triangular head on top of the shoulders. He had a huge mouth but no teeth. His mouth was filled with red light. There was an oddly shaped horn, even bigger than his head, wearing a metal ring as an accessory. His deep and black eyes had no pupils. It was like a black hole. One wouldn't dare to meet his eyes. This demon emanated a terrifying aura. Chan Zhao didn't know what an aura was, but he could genuinely feel the horror of hell. Human. Living being. The demon uttered with heavy and deep syllables. Beelzebub, who is he? Beelzebub walked over and stood between the unfamiliar demon and Chan Zhao. Human. This is Lord Beelzebub, Sophie. He's a subordinate like you. Yes. We're from the same family. Living being, I didn't mean to offend you, Beelzebub, Sophie said. I summoned you here to ask for help. Help? Lord Sophie, how can I help you? Chan Zhao didn't know Beelzebub Sophie, so he didn't dare treat him casually like he did Beelzebub. This demon lord didn't seem easy to talk to either. Chan Zhao wasn't sure why the demon had summoned him to hell. Chapter 123, Chan Zhao's first delivery. My wife's having a difficult birth. I heard from Vito that you're a doctor. You can save my wife. Chun Zhao really wanted to say that he was not an obstetrician. At least he had never delivered a baby before. Nevertheless, Chun Zhao knew most things about baby delivery. Therefore, he did not mind helping a lady to deliver her baby, even if she was a demon. However, Chun Zhao was unsure if there was a difference between human delivery and demon delivery. I need to see your wife first before I decide whether I can help her, Chun Zhao said. Follow me. Beelzebub Sophie lifted his limbs and dragged his body towards the castle. Beelzebub Sophie brought Chun Zhao into a huge room the size of a soccer field. The room had a dome and no furniture at all. The ground was filled with complicated markings which Chun Zhao guessed to be magic markings. There was also a red-skinned female demon. She was at least 3 meters tall and had a few bony spikes on her back. At the moment she was lying at the center of the room. Her limbs were chained and she kept moaning in pain. Chun Zhao could clearly see something wiggling constantly in her bloated abdomen. Damn dirty little bastard. You really want to kill your mom. The female demon kept cursing the baby in her body. Noticing Chun Zhao and Sophie, the female demon shouted, Sophie, did you bring me food? I have no appetite. I need to get the little bastard out from my belly first. If he still refuses to come out, I'll open my own belly and choke him to death. The female demon had a really bad temper. As she spoke, a fire pillar suddenly shot from her mouth. Chun Zhao felt the temperature around him increase immediately. With her hands on the floor, the female demon stuck her fingers into the floor, and then broke the floor apart. My wife has the bloodline of the evil dragon, so her temper is really bad, Sophie explained, looking at Chun Zhao. Why are you explaining this to a petty soul? Quickly come and help me. Give my belly a few punches. This little bastard's growing too fast. I really hope that you can kill him. Hi, madam. I'm a delivery doctor. I'm here to help you deliver. The female demon was stunned. You're alive. Yes, I am. Your husband summoned me here from the human world to help you. Be quick then. I've already had enough. I swear that I will never have another child. Sophie looked at Chun Zhao. Can you help her? Chun Zhao was unsure either. I can try. Then go. Chun Zhao walked to the back of the female demon and observed her lower body. Then he turned his head and looked at Sophie. Later, I need to touch your wife's genitals. Quick, I can't take it anymore. The female demon completely ignored Sophie. Perhaps demons did not even care about these things. Doctors would not care either, since touching the genital was unavoidable, especially for baby delivery. Obstetricians might even put their hands in and message the walls to help the mother widen the opening. Of course, the female demon's genital was significantly larger than that of a human, and also contracted at a faster pace. After wearing gloves, Chun Zhao put his hand in. He needed to confirm the fetus's position and posture. However, just after he put his hand in, he suddenly felt a sharp pain, as if his hand was bitten by something. Chun Zhao wanted to withdraw his hand, but the thing bit his hand tightly. On the other hand, the female demon seemed to be much more relaxed. The fetus finally stopped moving. However, it was only because poor Chun Zhao had sacrificed his own hand. Chun Zhao pulled his hand out with all his strength. Finally, the head of the fetus passed through the opening. He could even see the little demon biting his hand tightly. WTF. It was really too dangerous to deliver a demon. Chun Zhao could not do anything but continue to pull the little demon out despite the pain. After the fetus's head was out, the rest would be much simpler. Madam, be ready. I'll use more force now. Quick. Splash. With a strong pull, Chun Zhao managed to pull the baby out. Then, a large amount of amniotic fluid spurted out, wetting Chun Zhao completely. He felt intensely disgusted. However, he could not care about the foul stuff on his body at the moment. Instead, he looked at the little demon who was still holding on to his hand. The little demon was not like the demonic beasts in Beelzebub's house. He was already in the form of a demon, and he seemed to have inherited his mother's red-colored skin. The female demon's belly had already deflated. Chun Zhao lifted his arm and looked at the little demon hanging on it. Madam. Do you want to hug your child? Abitos, let him go, or I'll stuff you back into my womb, the female demon roared at the newborn baby. Chun Zhao was speechless. Madam, he's just been born. How can he understand you? However, the next moment, the newborn demon Abitos actually let go of Chun Zhao's hand. He fell onto the ground and then climbed to the female demon. The female demon started licking the amniotic fluid off Abitos' body with her tongue. Chun Zhao opened his mouth slightly, not because he was disgusted by the female demon's action. After all, she was a demon and had her own habits. It was because his hand was still in blood and felt really painful. Luckily, his hand was still intact and he could still move all the joints. Being able to feel pain meant that his hand was not completely destroyed. Chun Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. Human, come here. The female demon placed her kid near her chest, allowing him to lie and suck on her breasts. Then she waved her hand at Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao approached her. The female demon straightened her upper body, and then placed her hands around Chun Zhao's head. Chun Zhao was really scared that the female demon would suddenly close her hands and crush his head. However, he was clearly worried for nothing. The female demon had no bad intentions. Instead, she lowered her head and kissed Chun Zhao's forehead. The living, please accept the blessing of the fire dragon from the peak of Blackrock Mountain. Zofie also walked up to Chun Zhao. Before his enormous body, Chun Zhao looked as small as a cat. The living, henceforth you can do whatever you want in my territory. Air. Do whatever I want. Do you demons always use such arrogant words? Do you need anything else? No. Thank you for your generosity. If you have nothing else, I'll be going back first. Chun Zhao wanted to leave hell as soon as possible so that he could treat his own hand. You need to stay here for one full day, I'm afraid. Huh. Give me your hand. Zofie bent down and grabbed Chun Zhao's injured hand with his own. Chun Zhao thought that Zofie was going to heal his wound with a demonic spell, but he was clearly wrong. Zofie made another cut on Chun Zhao's palm with his sharp nail. Ah, what are you doing? Don't resist. Zofie made a wound on his fingertip with his nail. A drop of his blood dripped onto Chun Zhao's wound. Chun Zhao withdrew his hand at once. He felt that something was entering into his wound. Chapter 124. One-day tour of Obsidian City. Chun Zhao rubbed his hands. Did some mutant parasite thing latch onto him? He started thinking about scenes from alien movies. Zofie didn't explain to him either. If you want to go back to the human world, you'll need another day. Before this, you can stay in my castle or walk around the city. Zofie snapped his fingers and a floating female spirit appeared beside Chun Zhao. Jessica, help me take care of my guest. You can swallow whatever demon offends him. The female spirit was pretty, but unfortunately, she only had her upper body. She didn't have a lower body. She wore a light white veil and her hair floated slowly as if she was in water. Chun Zhao followed the female spirit named Jessica and studied her. Jessica, were you a human before? No, I'm a banshee, a demon. I'm Lady Kalicia's servant. She was probably the most human-like demon that Chun Zhao had met. That was why Chun Zhao thought she was a human spirit. Chun Zhao reached out to touch her, but his hand touched Jessica. There was a very slight feeling. It wasn't obvious though and more like touching some kind of vapor. If he did it without meaning to, he could completely miss the feeling. Respected living being, would you like to tour Obsidian City? Will I be in danger? Please do not worry. You are the Lord's respected guest and also a living being. No one can offend you. Plus, I will be by your side at all times. Then let's go see. Jessica took Chun Zhao to the highest point of the castle. There was a platform with a dozen two-legged dragons. These dragons were huge, all about 65 feet tall like huge helicopters. They all had a saddle on their backs, clearly for people to sit on. However, they were way too big for Chun Zhao. These are Lady Kalicia's kin. They were part of the dowry like me. Now they are the mounts for the Lord and Lady Kalicia. Of course, you're the most respected guest of Obsidian City, so you're also qualified to ride a two-legged dragon. With that, Jessica let out a shrill scream. A group of small demons half the height of Chun Zhao slipped out of the cave beside him. They quickly grouped before Jessica and uttered some things that Chan Zhao couldn't understand. Go prepare a saddle for the respected lord. Are they demons too? Chan Zhao pointed at them curiously. They're inferior demons responsible for miscellaneous chore. These inferior demons moved quickly, climbing up and down a dragon to change the saddle and seat. In a few minutes it had changed to a fancy wooden chair. It looked like a wide carriage with a hood. Chan Zhao climbed onto the dragon and sat in the chair. It was quite comfortable. Who will drive it? Jessica started talking to the respectfully grouped demons. The inferior demons started arguing, even fighting and biting each other. Finally, a dirt yellow demon jumped onto the dragon's back. The other demons made angry noises. The dirt yellow demon pulled the reins and the dragon soared into the air. Other than the shock in the beginning that was uncomfortable to Chan Zhao, it became a lot steadier after that. Is being a coachman this competitive too? They're too weak. If they're not given a job, they'll think that they're worthless and insecure. That's why they'll fight for any chance to work. They may even kill their competitors for this chance. Jessica was still floating around Chan Zhao, while explaining about the inferior demons. Basically, they were like the cows of hell. They ate grass and produced milk. When needed, they would even be used as food. They were also the most loyal dogs and their value was displayed in many aspects, not just in hard work. If they became loyal to someone, they would do anything for the person. They may risk their lives. They could even turn themselves into suicidal bombs. If there were enough of them, they could act as cannon fodder. Plus, they had some intelligence. If they lived in the human world instead of hell, they would definitely be more like than dogs and cats. They weren't very ugly or scary looking either. If you got used to their appearance, you'd even think that they were cute. Living Lord, if you have the need, I can gift you some inferior demon children. Inferior demon babies. Yes. Mature inferior demons already have someone they're loyal to, so they won't change it. The children don't have one yet, so they will become your most loyal servants. Can you do that? Chan Zhao really was tempted. If he could raise some inferior demons, he could put them in Blackie's home. They could help him do chores or bring him food and water when he and Blackie did experiments in the future. Of course. How long are their lifespans? Around 3 years, but I can choose some who are close to adulthood for you. This way you don't have to worry about raising them for too long. How many can you give me? As many as you want. Inferior demons are the least valuable. Many are actually freed each year. Do they have high fertility rates? Chan Zhao was worried that if he introduced the inferior demons into the human world, they would cause a species explosion. That would be kind of troublesome. Indeed, but I can just choose one sex, all male or female. That way, you don't have to worry about them reproducing too often. A while later, the dragon was above Obsidian City. After circling in the air, the inferior demon steered the dragon to land on the ground. There were all types of demons in Obsidian City. There were some that even Jessica didn't know the names of. The city was quite lively. It seemed that Sophie governed this place very well. Oh, Jessica, I want to buy some plants from hell. Where can I buy it from? Plants from hell? There probably aren't any merchants who sell it specifically, but you can go to Amuro Market. There are many merchants there. Maybe someone brought some special plants. You can check. Jessica brought Chan Zhao to Amuro Market, but it was covered in fog. He couldn't see anything. Living Lord, you must use the demon vision to look. Otherwise, you won't see anything. What's the demon vision? You can't do it? It's a low-level demonic spell. Chan Zhao hadn't even heard of it before, let alone know how to do it. The low-level demon magic book he'd bought from Raz didn't have any records of demonic spells. I'll prepare a spell scroll of the demon vision for you, Jessica said caringly. Thank you. Chan Zhao accepted quickly. But what do we do now if I can't even see the Amuro Market? It's okay. I can lend you my eyes for now. Chan Zhao was confused. Eyes could be lent? What kind of crazy technology was this? Or rather crazy magic. It's a talent that banshees have. We can lend any of our organs to others. This is too amazing. So if someone's missing a heart, can you lend your heart to them too? Banshees do not have hearts. Is your talent troublesome? No, it's very easy. Watch. Jessica just dug out one of her eyes and handed it to Chan Zhao. He was speechless.